Say something?
And this is why Jez doesn't host.
Okay. Okay, now we're live.
This is why Jez does not host the podcast, because always something audio related. You know, when he first came into the call, me and Gaz were sitting here. Jez came into the call and he's like, "Why can't I hear anybody?" Every single time, man. Every single time. But welcome to XB2+1. I'm your one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. With me, as always, we have Jez Cordon of
why am I
Windows Central managing editor. I don't know.
Why am I French? You've made me French for some reason.
Because that's where the Olympics are, in Paris.
In Paris, right? We don't care about Olympics. Although, interesting Olympics news, they did just commit to esports Olympics for the next Olympics.
Yeah,
but no
shooters.
No shooters though. No shooters allowed. But,
and joining us today is our good buddy, the Sauce Master. GAZ.
What's up, boys? It's good to be here, man. It's like, I'm surprised you still invite me. Such a divisive figure.
Why wouldn't we invite you, bro? What do you mean?
How are you divisive, bro? I've never heard a shred of controversy emerge from anything you've ever said. I think that's fake news, bro. It's fake news.
Oh man, I'll enjoy it before I end up in Guantanamo Bay. Yeah.
Didn't they shut that down? Ron, that was your.
They haven't.
Oh, they haven't. Oh, never mind. My bad. Damn. Well, anyway, on that politically charged note, how are you doing, Gaz? Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell the people where you're from, and
everybody knows who Gaz is. No, yes.
Yeah, for everyone listening.
We got to talk about his alt persona, the septic sauce.
Oh shit. Hi everyone. I'm a content creator who is known for being obnoxious, sometimes rude, tries to be funny, tries to entertain, hates PlayStation fanboys, which is and also likes PlayStation fanboys because I like dialogue. I like to swim in the sauce, as it's known, and I know for a fact that Rand, this piece of also loves that sauce, but he's sitting in the background, always in the bushes, and he observes like the eye of Sauron. He sees everything. He messages me. He absolutely pleasures himself to all that stuff. So, chat, I'm giving you an inside scoop. That's exactly who Rand is. Just won't say it. Just won't say it publicly.
I'm always in the bushes, eating my popcorn, seeing what's going on.
Watching me do all the damage. Just see they like go after someone, and then I get a little DM from Rand. It's like, so Gaz, what's going on? I love it.
Yeah. You also love to satirize the console war, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Well, still, people don't get it still. You know that people treat it like it's a documentary, which is insane to me. But I blame the Americans like you, Rand.
Wait, it's not. I thought. Oh. Oh damn! I learned something today. But yeah, we how long does it take to make those source videos? Because I kind of feel like that they're quite. They seem to have a bit of production weight.
Cinematic. They're very, very cinematic. Requires a lot of preparation and time.
Very cinematic, yeah.
Planning and execution, and with the pony hunter stuff. I don't think you realize a lot of people, we do it in public. So we've got someone playing the pony hunter. You got brilliant safe goes around, and then you just see random people just watching us. I've saw skits in the bowling alley, and there's a whole crowd of people just watching us with cameras like, what the hell are you doing? And if you're a brown person wearing all kind of crazy stuff, you're gonna get a lot of looks. So but you just have to stop caring and you just do it, and that's it. Just rub your nipples and go for it.
Well, that's because you're such a showman, right? You don't get you get the secondhand embarrassment, like, oh no, this little family with their kids walking by, and this dude over here is wearing a pony head or whatever. Like,
no, not at all. I get secondhand embarrassment from gaming conferences where some people are dressed up in cosplay that they shouldn't be wearing. I'll be like, bruh, what is that? You've got like there's this weird trend of guys just dressing up like women and saying free hugs, and I'm like, I saw that a lot in Gamescom. Yeah, I was just like, what's going on here, bro? This is a bit weird. But I don't get secondhand embarrassed, man. I've always been a troll. I can't go this year, man. Life's too busy at the moment, bro. I'm like working so many.
Are you going, Jazz?
I'm not going. I'm not going this year either.
I'm kind of glad, so I'm not missing out.
One of my colleagues is going though, so Genbox 360 is hopefully going if we can lock down a hotel. We've left it a little bit late, but yeah, Xbox is gonna have a big booth there at least. But yeah, there is often there's a lot of strange people to attend these kind of events, but we're all a little bit strange. I mean,
they'll say the same thing about us. Let's be real, bro. When Aaron Greenberg met me, I was holding a pony hat, and he knew exactly what it meant. I was like, "Yo, Aaron, can you point at it?" Because no, this is bad PR. I was like, "Come on, bro."
Oh man,
he loves it. Aaron is like Rand, by the way. He loves the console war. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah, Rand does secretly love the console war. I do. That scans.
I don't know about that. You guys are defaming my good name here.
People love it, man. We had Gene Park from Windows Washington Post. He says he loves the console war if it's dealt with properly. And I'm trying to bring it that way. Sometimes it spills out to be quite negative, which is just a natural, kind of reaction to kind of acrimonious, kind of confrontational content. But people like Paris Lily, you piece of shit, I know you're listening. He says he doesn't like console, but he actually does kind of watch all the content. He tells me he does.
Don't you be talking about Paris like that?
Don't be defaming.
He's gonna beat you up when you go to when you guys eventually meet at E3.
Paris ducked me. He ducked me. I literally got the messages. I was like, I messaged him and said, "Hey, you were staying at the same hotel as Cole Eastwood. I was just there, literally outside the same hotel." And I was just like, bro, and he's like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna take a rest." I'm like, "I get the message, you piece of." And he missed out. We got dank food. We got danked. Colt didn't get danked, but we got danked. We had great food. Showed him loads of different places. And if Paris wasn't an old man just crying in his bed, he would have experienced proper London. It was actually
he's probably
really nice.
Too busy binging a show and then saying online how he only likes to watch weekly.
Yeah, he talks nonsense. I'm sure he binges.
But man, I had something I wanted to ask you now, but I lost my train of thought fighting this stupid ghost flame dragon. I really need to start.
I am circumcised. Yes. Sorry, what?
Yeah, you should, because we've had Cyberpunk footage for the podcast last couple weeks, and and that's the only game I'm playing until I'm finished. So
we finally started playing Cyberpunk. Amazing. After
I know.
3 years of Cole Eastwood begging you to play that.
Yeah. I mean, he did. But I did tell him I was going to play it this year because there was a point in time where it was like not much coming out, and I was like, all right, now it's time. And I'm 50 hours in, and GAZ.
Yes.
I love it. Honestly,
yeah, you're like Tim Dog. I love it. I love it. You love it.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Like I'm 50.
What do you like about it?
Bro, everything. I don't even know if there's anything I don't like about it.
Oh my God. Cole Eastwood is gonna be like, "I told you so."
What build have you running? Because
right now I'm running.
I had a theory, right, that people's enjoyment was directly correlated to what build they played, and I think if some people played a build that wasn't good for their play style, then
what do you just enjoy? So I was tinkering around with some things, and I really like the freedom it gives you in the gameplay, GAZ, like the combat scenarios, like the different type of builds you can be, and you can build towards. Like, if you want to go into a ninja with blades, and put your points in reflexes and like intelligence and stuff, and just be super quick and just murk everybody with blades. You can do that. If you want to be the net runner and just hack everybody to death. Which, it's a lot of fun telling people to commit suicide and burning out their synapses and stuff, and just, you want to just go guns, you can go do that. What I'm running right now is like a ninja John Wick, or like a ninja Sam Fisher.
Okay. Yeah.
because whenever the thing is, whenever I get the opportunity or chance to play something stealth, I usually take it because we don't get a lot of stealth games. So this game has a setting that you can do stealth. So that's kind of what I kind of go into. I kind of go into each mission, trying to go through the levels as quietly as I can. I don't know. There's just something satisfying about beating a series of enemies without anybody knowing you're even there. And you just take them all down and just kill everybody, but nobody knows. Like, you're just the wind, and like,
it's also the closest you're ever gonna get to a new Splinter Cell.
Yeah, there's also that. But I got this pistol with this suppressor on it, and the suppressor does like plus 200% headshot damage when enemies aren't alerted to your presence. And then I have like the stats for, in the cool tree where like when I aim while my stamina is over 85%, I can hit the target at any range for full amount of damage. So, and like any headshot is 100% critical headshot. So basically, if the enemies aren't alerted, a single shot from my suppressed pistol is an instant kill. They just instantly die. So I'm going around like trying to, and I sort of use it as a last resort, but I like getting up behind people and taking them down, and then like, oh, your guy's coming, about to see me, boom, shoot him in the head, he's dead. And then I'm dashing all over the place because I have the thing where you can crouch, but then you can crouch sprint.
Oh wow!
And then it turns on your camo, so you can super sprint around and nobody can see you because you're camouflaged.
So are you crouch sprinting everywhere?
Yeah, bro.
Bro, just thinking about. Have you seen that movie? You probably haven't seen it. Jess, have you seen Four Lions?
The movie I haven't seen it, but I know of it. I haven't seen it yet.
The crouch run. The guy's like crab running. That's what I'm imagining. He's just crouching and running. You need to watch it. I can't believe you haven't seen Four Lions.
And then you got like you have the double jump, which is great because like once you kind of do get spotted, now you're like because I have a lot of points in cool and a lot of points in reflexes, so I'm dashing everywhere. I'm double jumping out of the way. It's just the gameplay is just a blast. And then on top of that, I feel like the city is really cool.
Yeah.
And the story alongside with the performances are compelling. I always find when I'm talking to anybody, like I want to know as much information as possible, right? Because it gives you, okay, the gold is the choice to move the dialogue along, and the blue is to find out new information. I always go for the blue because I just want to know everything about this world and these people and hear all these amazing voice actors. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm sure I could probably think of some nitpicks eventually, but when we talk about games I probably enjoyed most this generation, 1 and 2 are probably going to be Elden Ring and Cyberpunk.
Wow.
Like it's that good, and I'm nowhere close to being done. I'm also doing everything in the game, so I'm doing all the gigs, all the NCPD scanner stuff, all the Cyber Psycho stuff, all the side missions. Yeah, and eventually I'll have to do Phantom Liberty, the expansion.
So good. Phantom Liberty is really good, actually.
Yeah,
the thing is, it's a brilliant game that has changed fundamentally from the way it was launched. Because, we all know about the launch. We don't have to talk about the history of that. And it's a shame. It's a shame they had to go through that. And what this makes me really excited for is the next Cyberpunk game, where they are going to, kind of keep up to their promises. Because let's be real here. One of the promises they made was the fact that 80% of your decision making actually didn't make a difference, like they said they would, like branching tricks and whatnot.
I think
that will be rectified.
One sort of that's my criticism of both Cyberpunk and The Witcher. Like, your decisions don't matter that enough, and not only that, but when they do matter, you don't really know it. Like it's like in like Mass Effect and stuff. When you pick a renegade option, they make it pretty obvious, like you've made a big choice here that's had a direct impact on the game in a big way. But in Cyberpunk, I feel like that isn't kind of it doesn't emerge in the same way, and it didn't in The Witcher either. It was a lot more subtle, if at all, it came through. So yeah, I hope they can rectify that. I also don't like the itemization that much in Project Red games.
Same.
They made it better with the transmog system afterwards, like, and they made it so like you could you didn't have to look like a clown to have better gear, because that's something.
But it still don't look that good though.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Like I've got like a set of clothes, and I pretty much wear that through the whole game now because I couldn't find anything.
I don't think I've even changed my clothes, to be honest with you. I set like, because you're in first person, so I don't even care.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
I even like picked the default female look. Like it's like, I don't know. Like I just don't really spend a lot of time making my character. Like you have Colt Eastwood spend an hour trying to get every single one of his characters to look like him.
I know, man. That means he spends 90% of the time on his forehead.
Yeah. I just like, okay, I'm like, this is the default look. I'm going with it. I don't care. And I did start the game as a male, the male V, and then I started over as female V, and I feel like female V is better than male V. I feel like the voice actor did a better job.
Yeah. So someone DM'd me about that rand, and they were, because I was like, maybe I'll do female V for my next run, and someone DM'd me and they were incredulous, and they're like, no, Rand's wrong. Don't bother, Jez. Rand's just tripping.
It's funny because I've got a bunch of DMs saying like, you made the right choice. Female V is better. But I guess that's maybe, people who played it as one way versus the other are going to defend the decision that how they played the game. So if they played it as male, you're going to think male's better. And if you played it as female, you're going to think the female's better.
That's true.
So it's kind of the same way with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when you could either pick Alexios or Cassandra. And Cassandra was the right choice, but anybody that played Alexios would go down and be like, no, Alexios all the way. So, people are just going to defend their decisions. But, Gaz, you've been, you finally finished Sekiro, buddy, in a 9-hour stream. 6 hours against the final boss.
Bro, when you told me Ishin was hard, I took it seriously. Because when Randall Thor, man with a million, I take your opinion seriously on gaming, and particularly difficulty. And I remember your voice in my head is like, Gaz, that last boss, even at one point I thought, can I even do this? That's how hard it was. And I was like, bruh, if Rand is saying this, I'm going to prolapse live on air because this the final boss.
I think I spent like 3 hours on that boss. And at the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I can beat this guy. I don't know if I can be as good as you have to beat him. Because he's got, 4 health bars you have to beat?
Yeah. Bro, but it's such... You know what? Yeah, if you fight that other beast thing, like the optional boss, that is a crap... But that's an optional boss. The Demon of Hatred, which I haven't beaten yet. And I thought, this is so crap because this does not belong in the game. This is a Souls boss in Sekiro. But this Ishin, it has to go down as one of the coolest, if not, and I'm really struggling to think of the cooler last boss who was as challenging, as satisfying to beat because of the challenge, but also how freaking cool it was, man. It's such a, it's beautiful, man. I'm definitely 100%ing Sekiro. It's going to go into my top 10 games of all time easily.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's still my favorite. I think it's still my favorite FromSoft game. As much as I liked Elden Ring, I think I like Sekiro more.
Bro, so now I've gone and started streaming Elden Ring, which is the episode 1 came out on Sunday. And yes, Elden Ring's world is breathtaking. That whole thing it sucks you into its atmosphere, almost asphyxiates you with how good it is. And the majesty in level design is something to talk about. But when it comes to pure gameplay, when it comes to, the flow of it and just the vibe of Sekiro, with ease, this one is my number 1 from software game. Without a doubt. There were so many boss battles. You could see me on stream. I'm just like, just smiling, and then just like the cinematic flair of this game when you're fighting Genshiro and you're just hitting the parry and it's like bam, bam, bam. The last boss is so hard because you have to parry. Yeah, it doesn't give you a choice. So that, or your posture breaks and you get murked. So it was so good, man. Like, and we need to get Sekiro too. Forget Bloodborne and all of this. I want Sekiro too because it was so good. I was very grateful that I got to play this live with everyone.
I tried.
Bro, you haven't not played it?
No, not well. I have. I played Sekiro. Sekiro is probably okay. So I played Dark Souls when it first came out, and I didn't get it, and I was like, "This game's too hard, and I can't do it." So I gave up immediately on Dark Souls, and then I didn't play any Souls games for like a million years, and then I tried Sekiro because I don't know, people were saying it was different or whatever, and I thought, okay, maybe I can do this one. And it was the same situation. I was like, man, too hard, can't do it. But then the hype for Elden Ring was getting to me so much, even though like I hadn't really gotten into any Souls games before. I was just like, I can't miss out on this game. I just refused to do it. So I went back and played Dark Souls again with a new mindset, and really then got into it and went all the way through and finished it. And then I was like, okay, I get Souls games now. And I obviously finished Elden Ring. Doing the DLC now, which you can see me. I'm streaming this live, by the way, for those who are curious. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just aimlessly wandering through the Shadow Realm or whatever we're calling it. Don't know where I'm going. Don't know what I'm doing. But it makes me want to go back and give Sekiro another go with this new mindset, which is just like, you know, actually learn things into your muscle memory. And I don't know why I didn't have that mindset, because you have to do that for World of Warcraft if you're doing like heroic or mythic dungeons in that game. You do have to get boss patterns into your muscle memory in order to beat them. Like some bosses like in WoW can take a guild like months, because not only do you have to get the boss into your muscle memory, your whole raid guild has to get the boss into your muscle memory. And it's sort of similar kind of scenario where you have to learn shit. Oh, jeez, I just fell off a cliff. I'm dead.
That seems to be a theme in the videos I saw on Elden Ring. Like Gene Park, just like falling off a cliff all the time.
Yeah, it's the fall damage. When the game doesn't want you to fall off something, it will tell you. It'll be like, okay, like you know, there'll be times where you can fall down really far and be fine. And then other times was like, nah, you are definitely not allowed to fall off this ledge. And you'll fall off like 5 feet and just die. Because they just don't want you to play the game that way. But yeah, Sekiro sounds awesome, man. I need to go back.
You need to play it, bro.
But both of you have also been playing Kanutsugami, and you really enjoy it, right? I know Jez talked a little bit about it, and I know you were talking about it, GAZ. Is really surprised both of you about how good that game is. Nobody really seems to be talking much about it, really.
It's a shame.
Yeah, because it is a shame. Go on. What are you saying?
It's like I put a video out on Twitter saying like, don't be put off by the tactics stuff, because it's a tactics game, but it's also very intuitive for a tactics game. It's to the point where it's almost seamless. It's so quick and easy to position your minions and to sort them out and level them up and all that kind of stuff and prep for those sections. And then during the fights, you pretty much just, generally speaking at least, let them just go off and do their own thing. Like every level has like these challenges that you can do to unlock extra stuff, which maybe does require a little bit more micromanagement, but for the most part it's like a hack and slash. And you know, it's a pretty decent hack and slash, you know, with you know, it's not quite From Software level with parrying and all that kind of stuff. It's not quite Sekiro, but it's you know, serviceable with like, you know, dodging and blocking, and there's like special moves you can use and combos and stuff like that. It's just like you know, simplistically speaking, not crazy difficult, but not crazy easy either. It's like it's been a nice palate cleanser after, you know, getting brutalized by Elden Ring for the last month or so. and I really enjoy it. I don't know how you feel, guys, about it.
No, I really enjoyed it. I actually had my eyes on it since day one when I saw it. I was like, yo, because Capcom never miss, man. Like, yeah, I think recently they just this week announced that they're just exceeded all expectations. They're hiring people when the rest of the industry's firing everyone, and you can see why they're just succeeding. And this is it's a shame. It's a shame that a game like this goes under the radar. When Xbox guys are like, variety, you get this really good variety, and then no one's actually playing this game. And it may look different, it may look like, but if it didn't play how I thought it would. I thought it was like a 2.5D game, but actually is 3D controls. You move the camera around, and the game is so Moorish as well. Like, it's a great, yeah, definitely, because you just do one set of you have to pre-plan almost, like position your troops, and you can change the way they what classes they are, archer, mage, like that stuns people, or warrior, and then there's leveling up of those characters, and it's just done in a very, very unique way where it's not just a strategy game. You are doing a hack and slash, like you mentioned, and music is brilliant. The sense of urgency is great. So basically, you start off a level, and immediately the time is ticking, because at sunset or at nighttime is when the demons come. So you need to, as soon as you're into a level, you start a level, you have to quickly go around about plan your route, because that makes a big difference. And later on in later levels, I think I'm near the end of the game actually, but in the later levels, they throw all kinds of enemy types. You think, okay, they've done. That's it. Nope. More enemy types will appear, brand new ones, loads of bosses as well. So you have this fight for time, like it's coming to sunset. The music builds up, and you can literally feel your anus get smaller and tighter. And just like, and then you're panicking in the later levels, and you're like, oh shit, I need to put other traps, build stuff. Like there's a lot of management there, but it's done in a way that's not for your typical RTS ultra nerds. Because I knew the man. Like, just a tangent here. I used to go to these internet cafes, if you remember those things, as a gaming cafe. And I used to go, a guy called Jason, was he Malaysian or something? But he used to play Command & Conquer, I think it was Generals, RTS. Bro, if you guys think you're good at games, yeah, you're going to get humbled when you see a good RTS player, bro. This guy was like moving his mouse, like his keyboard. You could just like click. And he was doing mini micro movements, moving a screen across everywhere. And you realize, I go, oh my God, I'm actually a moron, because this guy is processing all this information all at once. And he was moving these units, numbered it, and he knew everywhere he was going. And I was like, that showed to me the ceiling between, you think you're good, skilled players, and the difference. I was like, bro, I am multiple levels below this guy in terms. And I used to love my RTSs. I used to love Red Alert 2 and Generals and whatnot. So, I'm always scarred by that and my inadequacy when it comes to RTSs. I played Dune Spice Wars. Great RTS, actually. It's actually on Game Pass, I think, but very hard with the management. But this game, nothing remotely difficult. And because it's a hack and slash, you can really go out of your way to tip the balance and whatnot. The whole idea is you carve a path for this princess lady who's cleansing the whole mountain or the hill, because there's a curse going down. It's just really nice. Please do try it. It's on Game Pass. I shouldn't have to beg you. I'm not Phil Spencer, for sake. Just play it, man. It's a great game, and I feel like it's criminal because I'm getting achievements, and it's like 8%, 7% unlock this rare achievement, and I'm just going through some of the levels. I'm like, bruh, that means no one's actually playing this game, and it's a great game. But yeah. Yeah, it's not Microsoft's not going to market it, so yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah, it's I was almost like, because Rand predicted that we were getting Call of Duty on Game Pass.
Predicted. Rand, the piece of crap, told me, oh, guys, wouldn't it be? He always does this. Wouldn't it be funny, gals, if Call of Duty was the first game they show in the showcase event? And I said it there because you've said it's happening, and it did, because he just predicts in inverted commas.
That's That is
no. You guys are just sometimes everything just comes up around,
Sure.
Yeah, right. Sure. Right.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
It's the most random thing as well. It's the most random thing you say. I'm like, all right, that's happening.
But he's like, Rand was going there predicting Call of Duty, and I was like, man, it's kind of annoying because, if we are getting Call of Duty in that time frame, it's kind of overlapping a little bit with Kunitsugami in a way, and yeah, maybe there's not a huge amount of overlap between people interested in those two respective genres, but I mean, I'm even playing Call of Duty because of it being on Game Pass. Like, I haven't touched Call of Duty in any kind of serious way since like maybe even the 360 days, I think.
Oh damn!
So I've been on that Battlefield train since forever until EA have just completely shit the bed on all things Battlefield and Battlefront. Yeah, like that. Yeah. I was just a huge Battlefield guy, and Battlefield V started it, like, not being great, switching to operators and all that kind of stuff, and then they just went completely off the rails with Battlefield 2042 when that came out. Flat maps with no cover and all this kind of stuff, and I was just like, man, what the hell were they thinking here? But it's with that in mind that I thought, well, I've kind of dropped off shooters in general because I've just, because I haven't been playing Battlefield, and I come back to Call of Duty because of not having a shooter to play, and because it's on Game Pass and it makes it kind of free. But I'm having a blast with it. I think Modern Warfare 3 is really good. I don't know if either of you guys have given it a go. Did you play? Call of Duty?
I mean, I played Modern Warfare 3 when it came out.
The guys were saying he was playing Apex Legends before he came on the show.
Yeah, no, I played Modern Warfare. I think I prestiged once on it. I really liked it because I was trying to get my mates to, and now they've downloaded it because it's on Game Pass, so they weren't willing to spend that much money. Because just everyone's older and haven't got much time. But it's just a lazy release, but one that I really appreciated because I was a Modern Warfare 2 fiend. And this basically just copied all the Modern Warfare 2 maps and just regurgitated them. Yeah. Now, lazy as that may be, I loved it. For me, it was amazing because they're the best maps. They for some reason, this gen, or ever since the old shooter days, all multiplayer maps suck, and Halo is guilty of that as well. Until you play the Halo 3 maps, why? Why is it that maps and games were better than they are now? They're just soulless. So I really liked Modern Warfare 3. I'm intrigued to see the spike in player numbers for that. I still think it's shocking that Microsoft has such a big event like Modern Warfare 3 come out on Game Pass, and it's not really doing the marketing because it's mission critical for Xbox. And they need to be shouting through the rooftops about this. Now, the real test is the next Call of Duty. And, we saw with Xbox's EMEA marketing leader, was it?
They have to be scrappy. We have to be scrappy
with our budget. When I read that, I was like, obviously we knew that. But the way he said it, we have to be scrappy, I couldn't believe it, man.
I felt like a cry for help to me.
Yeah, you know what that felt?
It was.
The dude basically going to the media to basically pressure his bosses to, all right, you need more budget? That's what it felt like to me. Using the media to get more budget. Like, I know, and I just thought it was weird. It was just like Microsoft, the $1 trillion corporation, Xbox, the, $20 billion business, and they're using words like scrappy to define their marketing.
Against Sony, which have to be proper frugal with their money. And the crazy part is you've spent over $70 billion to be invested in this business. But the one thing you're faltering at is the most basic thing, which is marketing this stuff. And Microsoft has this stupid, absolutely horrendous idea that organic marketing will let all the people, like the super mega fans, then just evangelize the brand. And then that will hopefully permeate
GAZ,
the masses.
The interesting thing there is a lot of people who used to work at Netflix worked at Xbox. In fact, the former head of marketing for Xbox, GAZ, was Jarrett West, right? Mm-hmm. He recently left. Jarrett Rest worked at Netflix for a long time. A lot of people had came over. And the thing with Netflix is, as we've talked about before, is Netflix doesn't do a lot of marketing. Netflix believes in the organic word of mouth stuff by putting their games or putting their TV shows and having stuff just blow up organically, so they don't got to really spend a lot of money in marketing, right? And it works for Netflix. I mean, there was no marketing for Squid Game before it came out, but I mean, Squid Game became one of the biggest shows ever. Or something like Baby Reindeer, or all these sort of shows. Like, sure, they'll drop a trailer here or there. They'll do like events, from time to time and stuff. But they're not really forcing the marketing down their throat for a lot of these things. Maybe they do for Stranger Things because it's their flagship. But even still, when Stranger Things came out, that blew up based off of word of mouth. And I sort of feel like a lot of people from Netflix came to Xbox and sort of tried to replicate that winning formula. Like, oh, we don't really got to spend a lot of money in marketing because we have Game Pass, and our games are going to be in Game Pass, and everybody's going to be able to play it, and those players will be able to spread word of mouth online and get that free virality that Netflix enjoys.
Ridiculous.
But like the thing is the Game Pass is nowhere near the level of Netflix. Netflix got 280 million subscribers, and TV's more ubiquitous than gaming.
Yeah, and I think like Netflix has also established itself in a vacuum because it didn't really have any competition. Whereas like Xbox has competition in every direction. You know, Steam on PC.
Netflix does have competition though. It's just the competition is just not up to what. Not in the beginning, but now. But now, like...
That's what I mean, though. They hired those people when Netflix had, before it had Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff, sort of maybe taking some of its market share away. But, I don't know, man. It's, I think,
no,
one thing
that idea is stupid. That's stupid, bro. Like, you said it. Netflix is Netflix. It's a TV. It's a different realm altogether. Look at why Sony gained so much success when Cole Eastwood came to London. He couldn't even at Trafalgar Square literally had astrobots slapped everywhere. And this is a whole different arena where people don't even know what Xbox Game Pass is. They don't. Go ask your mom and dads, your football moms, or people who buy Call of Duty, FIFA. I tell people at work, oh, but you should get Xbox Game Pass, and I'm always met with, what's that? Like, and I have to say, oh, it's the Netflix of gaming, and you basically get this game. When I say that, they're like, really? You get all these games for that? Like, Microsoft think the service should sell itself, but the marketing opportunity is so easy. If you got me there to give me a marketing budget, a proper one, the ads can write themselves. So it's absolutely fundamentally flawed. And I'm bewildered by the fact that this $1 trillion company operates this way, where you're trying to work your way into the living room of gamers, yet you're so scared to do it in a way that really should be making a loud noise. In Europe, you don't see anything. Sony's still doing advertising on buses, advertising on trains, advertising on TV all the time. On cinemas, when I watch a movie, I'm seeing a PlayStation trailer all the time. You're building a brand. It's supposed to be part of your lifestyle. That's what gaming is really for a lot of people. But when this aversion to try and market it properly is what's actually stifling Xbox. And it will be so utterly stupid. And I can see Microsoft going this way with a new Call of Duty after you fought and paid billions to get this deal go through, went through all that crazy headaches with the FTC and the CMA, and you finally made the deal go through, and you're not going to reap the rewards of it, because reaping the rewards of it is really, as far as gaming is concerned, seeing those Game Pass numbers spike. And we talk about sustainability, this and that, and me and Colin don't like each other, and he's going to be sitting there endlessly masturbating to the sound of his own voice, saying how Xbox Game Pass is not sustainable. But the point is, it's not going to be sustainable if, one, you don't have the quality output, and two, you don't do the base marketing for this thing. Like for Call of Duty, you need to be relentless. And the fact that I have to go and say this, Like as a gamer, like why are we advising a $1 trillion company to market your shit? It's just so dumb. If Aaron Greenberg was in front of me, I would say to his face, I'm like, bruh, are you eating up all the budget for the rest of the world? Because no one knows what they're doing, and you guys are just being useless. It's just absolutely just incompetent. I know it sounds really harsh, but it really is that's the case. And now I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, they're going to actually sort their act out. But ultimately, it's just bewildering to me.
So you think for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the game that comes out in October, you don't think they're going to market that with Game Pass hand in hand? You think they'll just market it like a regular Call of Duty game and not even mention Game Pass?
No, if they...
I wonder if there's some kind of like regulatory reason or agreement behind that. Do we know if they even can? Because I agree entirely. They should, and I would think Microsoft would be insane not to. But maybe there's some kind of mitigating circumstance there that we're not aware of.
I don't think so, man. They've done bits here and there. Like, what's stopping them?
Well, you remember though, Gaz, when these trials were going on last year, roughly around this time, it did come out that they said they wouldn't be able to put Call of Duty into Game Pass until 2025.
Yeah.
If you recall. But Modern Warfare 3 is in Game Pass already. Black Ops 6 is coming to Game Pass this fall.
Yeah.
So was that wrong information then? Or did maybe something changed? Maybe Microsoft, I don't know, maybe they bought Sony's marketing out and were like, hey, because you think about it, Sony had the marketing for Modern Warfare 3, right?
Yeah. And
normally those marketing deals last at least a year. We've seen like Sony's, marketing agreements, right? I sort of wonder if they bought Sony out of that marketing agreement and was able to be like, all right, we'll be able to do this. And Sony was like, okay, we'll let you be able to do that, but you can't advertise the new Call of Duty with Game Pass this year.
That would be ridiculous. That would be suggesting. Well, Microsoft have already done that. They've advertised on Twitter and stuff. You're saying that exclusion clause that prevents them from doing the marketing.
I'm just going through scenarios. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I that thought crossed my mind as well. But you would have to have the most limp lawyers at Microsoft have agreed that. I just don't see how that's workable. A marketing exclusion clause, but kind of is counterproductive to Microsoft even going and purchasing it. You're basically saying you're going to spend $70 billion, but we're going to put a silencer in your acquisition, so you're not even allowed to market it.
In my scenario, it would really just only be for this game this year, and then
that's just I just find that very unlikely, man. Like if Microsoft have done that, just send me into their offices.
If they didn't, they wouldn't be able to put any Call of Duty games in there, and they wouldn't be able to put Black Ops in there.
I don't think so. I don't think they went through the whole rigmarole with the FTC and the CMA. They combated them. Sony only came into the picture at the end when Microsoft was winning and defeating the regulators. So there was no case where Microsoft was so desperate. If that's the case, you never know. The world is a crazy place. It would be mad. But they've already started. They have advertised. They've done it on Twitter. So if they're saying, "Oh, we're not allowed to advertise, but on TV and stuff,"
they might not have like. We need to see what sort of advertising they have on TV and other places if they run.
I wouldn't even give them the benefit of the doubt, Rand, because we have just several years. The legacy of Microsoft and its marketing in Europe, in Middle East, in Asia is well renowned for being absolutely non-existent. That's what the Xbox EMEA guy is literally saying. We are hamstrung. We are not as strong as PlayStation. So I don't know why we would give them the benefit of the doubt. Microsoft is just purely inept at this. And their Xbox division just needs someone who's strong enough to actually go in and slap Satya Nadella's bald head and say, you know what, we need to do this right. You're sitting on our heads, putting all this pressure on us to, cutting out, making job cuts, getting rid of Tango Gameworks, which I'm still salty about, and all of whatever. But you won't give us a marketing budget after you spend the biggest acquisition in the history of this company that dwarfs everything else. it just doesn't make sense. So Microsoft needs to sit down and have a whole mass campaign so everyone, including their mom, their grandmother, even the people who have passed away, cannot escape the fact that Game Pass and Call of Duty is happening.
I agree with you. Like, Game Pass is one of those things where I do feel like it's not entered the mainstream. Like, I even talked to my sisters. One of my sisters is married, her husband kind of does tinker with gaming from time to time, and they don't know anything about it. And I sort of feel like Call of Duty is that like entry point, because Call of Duty is so big and it is so ubiquitous. This would be like Game Pass's moment to shine, and maybe to like enter it into a different consumer tier than has previously been. And I'm very curious how they package it and how they advertise it, and very curious to see if it actually brings any new people into the service. Like, I'm curious if anybody signed up to play Modern Warfare 3. What were the numbers like? How many people like Jez? You saying you hadn't even played? How many relapsed or older Call of Duty players who had stopped playing it came back because of it? Is there going to be a shift from Call of Duty players on PlayStation versus Xbox? Like, is that going to be something noticeable and a trend that you can see from these player engagement numbers? Like, there's a lot of like data points that you can look at and be like, okay, how does this affect certain trajectories and scenarios with all that sort of stuff? And I'm very curious how it all comes, like at the end of the year and stuff going on, right? Getting that information. If we get that information, like I've seen people say, oh, if Microsoft, if they don't give an update for Game Pass after like a month after the new Call of Duty comes out, then it's a failure. It didn't move the numbers, right? Because Microsoft is very, they keep those numbers close to the vest, right? They're at 35 million right now. What would you say what if they only go up to 37 million? Would that be a good number? Is that a bad number? Is that like a number worth sharing? You know what I mean? Like, what is for you? Like, what do you think what do you think that would be? Like, what do you think they have to hit? Or is it like it's more of just the beginning, and it's about like the journey, and it's like, okay, it's not just about this singular Call of Duty game, it's about Call of Duty always being in there from this moment moving forward, and this is just one stage in the journey, and you don't overly judge the beginning of the journey. We have to wait and see what it's at 5 years from now, type of thing. You know what I mean?
So that's a good point and good way to position that, and that kind of attitude, which might actually be up for discussion in the back rooms of Microsoft HQ and Xbox HQ. My attitude would be, if I'm in there in any position, and the urgency with which I think things need to be done, because Microsoft and the Xbox brand is just hemorrhaging hard compared to PlayStation, that continues to get momentum. Now, I'll talk about Brad Sams actually just announced the.
I did see that.
Yeah, we can talk about that in a bit.
What did he say?
So Brad Sams come out with the earning.
The Microsoft earning calls are today, or the earning stuff.
It's just been released. We'll talk about that in a sec. But if it's me, and with all the pressure and all the cuts and everything that they've made and all the job losses, and it's not coming from an emotive Xbox guy. This is coming from, okay, hard business hat. Let's just get this platform really going, because we've got this pressure of spending 70 billion plus. I want to see results quick. And I need to see them ASAP with the inclusion of Call of Duty. And I'm not talking about a slow, we'll start to build a culture of Call of Duty's here. This is the beginning of their journey. And no. That's just absolute bollocks. Because if this was Sony and PlayStation and they had bought Call of Duty 1, their marketing would have made everyone, even someone living in a cave in Afghanistan, would know that this game is on PlayStation Plus. So Game Pass, you have to make that noise. And I would want to see major uptick in subscriber count. And I'm talking about immediately after launch. I would say maybe, to be just graceful, 2 months. I want to see a massive spike.
What's the number got to be for you then?
I even think 2 million is actually really low. I would like, but I say maybe not 2 million in 2 months, but I would like to see 5 million additional by summer of next year, at least.
I think that's doable.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a doable. And the reason why I'm toning it down is because Microsoft's so inept to me in many ways. But I'm just saying, if they get that 5 million, that's healthy. That's healthy to get to 40. But then it has to exponentially increase. So 45 to 50, 55. You have to be massive. Look, Xbox has everything on its table to do this right. It has it all on its table. And I challenge Microsoft, let me sign an NDA and I will sit there on the table and I'll talk to your statisticians about this, because ultimately it boils down to strategy, and your strategy has been limp-wristed. So I want to see that number, but even 5 million to me is conservative, but I'll take that 5 million because Microsoft needs to do that. And if Xbox Game Pass, which Microsoft has made the front runner for its metric for success, is the primary weapon in this console arena, or gaming arena, I should say, then that ad needs to be everywhere in Europe all the time, to the point where everyone knows it, but no one knows that. And I don't know why this is not happening. It just bewilders me. Now, just saying that, Brad Sams came out with its earning thread, and he did say Xbox's content and service revenue increased 61%, driven by 58 points of net impact by the Activision acquisition. So it's all there. The momentum is there. These are understandable figures.
That's good.
Off the top of my memory, when they were given their forecast for this past quarter, I want to say they were expecting 55 points to Activision impact, and basically Xbox would decline. Like if ABK what that means, where they say 61 points, was it like it's 61 points?
61% driven by 58 points of net impact.
Right. So it means if Activision wasn't added, then Xbox would have grown 3%, right? That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say their projections, if I remember correctly, were that Xbox would have declined when they gave when they gave their forecast. Like without ABK, Xbox would have declined. So this is saying that Xbox actually grew 3%, but then you obviously add ABK on top of that. I think maybe it did better.
That's a result.
At least I think. I mean, my memory is pretty good. I could be wrong on this one. I know it was pretty close. It was either like there was no growth or it was negative growth, and like 3% growth isn't like the greatest anyways. But that could be higher than their estimate. So hopefully more of the information comes out and we can talk about that. But yeah, I mean, they did talk about Tom Warren's reporting, GAZ, about like the marketing thing is that they were going to focus more on Game Pass and stuff like that. So maybe they do more ads for Game Pass out there in Europe and stuff. And maybe Microsoft just views Europe as more of like PC land for them, that they're going to try to get more people on PC and cloud, essentially, than try to.
That, I was told that Jarrett West is someone who prefers to market one product at a time, which is why where did he go? He went somewhere. Was it Roblox?
I forget where he went. Was it
Roblox?
He went to Roblox.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd because that's all about all the different products that everybody builds for that app. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, kind of, but I don't know. It's Roblox is more Netflixy. I kind of feel like.
Xbox hardware down 42%.
Is that what it is? 42%?
Xbox content and services up 61%. Xbox hardware down 42%.
That's I wonder why.
42% is that is a
horrendous.
That is a very, very, very steep decline. Hey, Jez, you said to me earlier today, where's the white Series X? And I'm like, they announced that at the showcase, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It's for holiday season, though, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to. Yeah.
I was just writing up something about it earlier, but yeah, I'm not entirely surprised about the hardware situation.
No, it is not not surprised whatsoever.
I think we might see the decline stop a bit next quarter though, because maybe NCAA college football's gotten a lot of people to upgrade to next gen, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think you're gonna necessarily see a huge amount of growth out of the other players either, to be quite honest.
Yeah, this would have been for what, April, May, and June.
Yeah, something
so.
Like that. But like, I don't know, man. Hardware is just kind of cooked. I mean, it's the impact of just the post-pandemic environment for gaming is just weird. Like, you've seen like studios closing left, right, and center, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what the situation there is, but I don't think it will be forever with the hardware front.
It says Xbox Q4 revenue was 5.3 billion, which is a Q4 record, obviously, because they haven't had a Q4 with Activision before. Yeah. So using 5.3 billion in Q4 sales, annual gaming revenue reached a record of 21.7 billion. Compare that to 15.5 billion last year, which of course didn't account for the Activision Blizzard deal.
Someone showed me something recently, and it was credit card data for it was credit card data that showed the total spending on gaming, and that's all of gaming, and this was data shared by Visa. I should probably like post this on Windows Central sometime, although I'm not entirely sure if it's public information or not. I've recently got a source at Bloomberg Terminals, which is interesting, but this data was like showing that over the last, I can't remember the field, was it 5 years, 6 years? But it was showing that the total spend on gaming has just basically gone down, and that's like total spend across the whole industry. So people are spending less on gaming, not more, in recent years, which is, you know, that's gonna hit Xbox as well as like the other players as well. I just wonder like why that is. Like, what is gaming facing more stiff competition from other entertainment mediums? Is, you know, have they gone too far with the microtransactions and stuff like that? It's pushed people away to look for other things. I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see another scenario of like Xbox hardware up. It could just be in the decline until they decide to release new hardware.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Well, you might get a spike from this year so abysmal that next year might be good if 3 people buy it. It's all relative now, isn't it? I think just like last gen, we're back in a situation where Xbox is like, maybe the next console will sell well. You know, if you get your marketing right, you... Oh, I did not mean to do that. I just said that.
Oh god.
Oh god, I don't know how that works.
But that's the industry's changed though. It's like a lot of people they don't feel the need to upgrade, and that's why like we've seen so many people upgrading for the football game because it's next gen only. Like most of these games just aren't next gen only. They're on Xbox One. And a lot of people are just like, I don't care enough about. I'm not enough of an enthusiast to upgrade to just get a bunch of extra pixels. It's not like back in the day when you like upgrade from your PS2 to your PS1 to your PS2, and you get like this huge leap in quality. It's like now when you upgrade, you're looking at like, oh, a slightly sharper image on my screen, but essentially the same kind of games, you know. I don't think console gaming is just not as exciting as it used to be in terms of getting upgrades. It's like not as necessary as it used to be. So I think a lot of the growths come from microtransactions. And someone told me, it was actually Daniel Ahmad from Nico Partners. He told me that 79% of all gaming spend now, is on microtransactions. 79%. So that's got to be like having some kind of impact on just how the platform holders are thinking about gaming. You know, like when we talk about Xbox doing marketing, and it's like, but would that actually move the needle? And maybe Microsoft just thinks there's no amount of marketing we can do that would actually help people want to buy a console, because really they're just more interested in buying a skin. You know, maybe they should market the skins. Maybe if there was like an Xbox Series X exclusive Deadpool skin, maybe that'd move the fucking needle. I don't know.
Deadpool skin. You know, it's interesting. When I was last night when I was playing Cyberpunk, I looked at the, you know, because the dashboard will have like recently added a Game Pass as a thing there, right?
Mm.
And it was recently added to Game Pass. It was Modern Warfare 3, and right next to it was Valorant. And I was like, man, Valorant's free to play. The game's not actually in Game Pass, but it's advertised on the dashboard and by Xbox as a Game Pass title.
Yeah, I suppose it's because of the characters.
Because of like the deal they had with Riot, and to be able to get all the skins and stuff for free if you link your account.
Yeah,
I just thought that was super interesting. Like, if they're advertising the game as part of the Game Pass library, which is kind of funny considering the type of game it is.
True.
And, you know, that game's all about selling agents and skins and all that sort of stuff.
They have a good relationship with Tencent, from what I've been told. But have either of you guys tried Valorant? My little
No.
They have a good relationship with Tencent?
Microsoft has a very good relationship with Tencent, yeah. That's why I like...
Even Sean Layden, who was liking tweets where he was hating on Phil Spencer? Interesting.
Yeah, I guess they go above his head. But
I mean,
that's why they've got all the deals for League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics and all that kind of stuff. But you know, Microsoft wants to see itself as this benevolent platform holder, which is why they, you know, they'll spite themselves and, you know, give more airtime to their competitors sometimes, which you know, relates to, you know, the memes about Xbox doing the Kumbaya thing and stuff. But I don't know. It's industry's in a weird place, and I'm curious what Sony's hardware numbers are gonna look like. Like, if Sony's like still selling more and more consoles, like, I'm wondering if it's like, are those actually new users or just people that are upgrading from PlayStation? And then it's like, well, if PlayStation,
I mean, didn't they say they were gonna go down? They're gonna go down though. They said they expect a slump.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, I suppose. But then it's like, well, if PlayStation's upgrading its users, and Microsoft, like I've said before, Microsoft says it's got more console users than ever, but its hardware sales are going down. That informs us that there's a shitload of people on Xbox One who just aren't upgrading. Like, what would it take to get those people to upgrade? And does it even matter if they upgrade? Because $20 spent on Xbox One is the same as $20 spent on a skin on Series X. It's a different industry now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's also going to be an existential challenge generally anyway with hardware. Microsoft's numbers are atrocious by their own metrics. I don't think they expected it to play out like this. They're already kind of cashing out, it feels like, with the Xbox. You know, my point is, and I'm going to be very adversarial on this point, is like, you're not even marketing your consoles, but then you're going out saying stream Xbox games, no console required, and your message is all over the place. It just doesn't seem like they have that dedicated push. So with it feels like the Xbox community almost is already now looking forward to the next gen of hardware, because the Series X and S after the One has failed to gain the kind of momentum it needed to. So this is not okay. Industry wide,
that's not even. I don't think that's really indicative of even Xbox. I think I've seen a lot of PlayStation fans that aren't happy with the PlayStation 5 at this point right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that.
A lot of people, this generation has kind of been, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that from my perspective. I'm saying when I go on Twitter and I look around, I see people unhappy with, you know, the game situations from both Xbox and PlayStation, and you know, they're like, all right, well, okay, you know, Xbox hardware might be coming sooner than later or whatever, but I think it's more just a testament to how long it takes to make a game these days, right? Like you get a game and then like, all right, well, I know you've been pounding the dead horse about Concord, right? About like the beta numbers and stuff, and
pounding the dead horse.
I mean, beating the dead horse. GAZ been beating the dead horse about that game. The sad reality is, if that game doesn't do well, like, okay, well, guess what? We'll see your next game in 5 years, right? Whereas, like, if we were a couple generations ago, you'd see a game from them in 2. And when you get your console and you're looking forward to the stuff, it's like you might get one God of War game this gen, maybe another one at the very tail end of the generation. Just and it used to never got like. It used to not be like that, right? You used to expect a lot of different games and a lot of your favorite franchises, and now it's like you might get one from that franchise, maybe you get 2, maybe there's one at the beginning and one at the end.
Yeah,
and we've talked about this before, and I know a lot of the industry is being held up by the live services because they bring in so much money, the microtransactions and the Fortnites, the Apex Legends, which GAZ loves Apex. GAZ loves Apex Legends. All these different live services, and I sort of feel like live services are also detrimental to people discovering and buying new $70 games, or even potentially subscribing to a subscription service, because you could be like, I'm a Fortnite player, I play Call of Duty, or I play Apex, or all this sort of stuff. Why do I need to spend $70 on something brand new when I could play this game for free and get hundreds of hours in it? Or why do I need to spend $20 a month to play these games in a subscription service that I don't care about when I can play this one game for hundreds of hours for free? I feel like the free-to-play games have the industry and developers in a vice. That these games are so massive and they take up so much time and players' energy and players' money that there's like not enough left for a lot of other things. And I'm not saying like something like Resident Evil won't sell or the big franchises, but when you take a new IP or a risky investment, it's tough. Right? Or if you want to spend all this money on a subscription service, but a lot of those people don't have any need for it because they're only interested in playing Fortnite. So how do you appeal to someone who only plays Fortnite? How do you get that person to be like, hey, you should check out Game Pass? That person's not going to care no matter what you put in that service. Now, I mean, you could do like the Game Pass perks and stuff, but I feel like that's a big issue. Is the live service games, GAZ?
I do agree that there is this kind of fundamental, not existential challenge, but this industry-wide challenge that other developers face. But you do get this PlayStation and Nintendo do see healthy sales of games that are your single-player games. Stellar Blade, like a lot of people said, oh, it only sold 1 million or whatever, and I thought that's a very healthy number for a new IP from a Korean outfit that no one's actually heard of. And I do agree that this is why I'm so happy about what's happening right now is a market correction. After years of spiraling development costs, which were still there, tools like Unreal Engine 5, when they're so powerful, they're actually leveling out the playing field with indies, with AA's and whatnot. And what you're going to see now over the years, as we're at the peak point, I actually see things actually calming down. So you don't just get one game from an outfit, a generation or 2 at that. Like BioWare's freaking, when is Mass Effect coming out? But things like that. So
Dragon Age coming out. They haven't even given.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you're like, Randa's right. Like you only get like a couple of games a gen, and this is a symptom of the old problem that Cliff Bleszinski was talking about, spiraling dev costs back when he was making games, and God knows how long that was ago. So we're going to see that market correction, and right now, currently, we're seeing developers weather the storm and trying to reconcile this the public's and the new generation's palette which is predominantly free to play, which is predominantly these kind of games, and then trying to get them to experience other titles where they've invested so much development time. Now, this is why I see Game Pass as an absolutely necessary force in redressing that balance. We've seen some indies talk about how much it's really helped them. We've seen other games like Hypercharge, which is not on Game Pass, actually see successes as well, despite being from a small indie outfit and being a £40 game or whatever, full price game. So it's not completely cannibalistic, but Game Pass is why I think it was such a necessary force. Even though Microsoft will swallow the capital hit, what it's doing is it's empowering loads of titles, and this is changing the behavior of challenging the free-to-play model by giving you something that's basically it's a subscription cost, but free, but to try out all these kind of games. Microsoft marketed this well. I absolutely guarantee there'll be more people playing games like Komitsugami that we're talking about. It has an anemic, even though it's a bit niche. I don't know what the player numbers are, but I think they're quite low. And that's why I'm so ideologically backing Game Pass. I think it's such an incredible force that even though it's behind $1 trillion faceless corp like Microsoft pushing it for its own endeavors, it's ultimately a great force, positive force, and that's why Game Pass is needed to redress that balance and make people experience a breadth of experiences of loads of games, from your Call of Duty to your Komitsugami to your Replaced to all sorts. Because of Game Pass, I myself have experienced so many games I wouldn't have had a chance to play So yeah, you're right. There is a challenge. Whether or not that's how that's tied to the hardware issue, that's really just Microsoft's problem and its inability and
yeah. I'm not saying that's like a hardware issue. I'm just saying I think that's an issue in general.
Yeah, but it's a Microsoft issue. Xbox can't sell its hardware well. I mean, the fact that the Series X and X are tracking below the Xbox One is diabolical. It's a reason for loads of multiple things. Now, everyone thinks I'm being a downer talking about that, but just being as an predominantly Xbox fan, that's how I have a very pessimistic view of the leadership and the execution of their strategy. But something has to give, and I wonder what they will do with all this pressure. But I'm not seeing any meaningful changes yet, and I'd love to have this frank conversation with Phil, who will tell me to fuck off because he thinks I'm a prick.
Yeah, I mean, seeing those numbers, those are whoo, 42% is a couple more of those, and you're at if you're constantly having your output every single quarter, it's how long until it gets down into some pretty severe numbers.
True that. But they like I say. I mean, we keep talking about oh no sales, but they keep saying they've got more players than ever on console, specifically on console. So sales have gone down, but there's still consoles selling, so there's still demand, and there's still huge amounts of money coming in. It's Gaz said it's not an existential crisis, but I think it kind of is an existential crisis, in the sense that they need to find where those users come from. If Xbox fans are happy staying where they are, and I think Rand, you made this point on last week's podcast, was you don't want people to be too comfortable on the platform they're on, because maybe they'll just be well, I'll switch platform next time or whatever. But then again, maybe they won't because of digital lock-in, or maybe they'll just wait until you've got a sort of, I don't know, a game like college football or Grand Theft Auto, where they feel like they have no choice but to upgrade. And I kind of feel that that's the situation Xbox is in right now, perhaps more so than Sony. I think Sony has marketed its stuff hard, and it has done PS5 exclusives, but I think Sony's probably secretly thinking the same thing. These are just people upgrading their console, which we make no money on. We're not finding those new users, which we need to meet these ballooning development and platform costs. So I think
Sony's
the whole...
less positioned to weather the storm than Microsoft. So it's sensitive for them.
It's
but
funny
they'll still manage.
People won't think that though because of Xbox hardware is 40% down, and they won't think about all the rest of the industry implications about what the issue there is, why we're in that situation in the first place.
So what's your thoughts on what the long-term position of PlayStation is going to be then, if you're thinking they're not positioned as strongly as Microsoft?
I think PlayStation's going to run into this issue, like, because Concord's a pretty good indicator of the issues they're going to run into. It's like how's PlayStation going to meet platform titans like Activision or Tencent when it comes to service-driven stuff? How are they going to meet that stuff? It's like, what have they got up their sleeves to sort of answer the service game klaxon that the industry seems to have for itself right now? Maybe the answer is, like you say, change the way people think about gaming, and maybe the vehicle for that is stuff like Game Pass. But then you're behind Game Pass too. I think there was an article in GameRant, and again it's GameRant, so I don't know how accurate it is. GameRant reported that someone published numbers that PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation Plus Premium has lost users in July.
Yeah, that don't take that for.
Yeah,
they're based.
What is that based on?
They're basing it off of True Trophy's numbers of users who downloaded the month's games, and because
I use that for console warring.
There's no financial. It's a bunch of bullshit. So
I should have known better than to
yes, you should. Sony, yeah, because I was like, well, Sony hasn't come out. They haven't given their financial reports about. They stopped reporting even their numbers. So I don't know how anybody would know that they lost 50% of their PlayStation Premium users. But no, it was based all around on basically user numbers from True Trophies. About people downloading the games or whatever.
Yeah, I should have known better. GameRant is,
yeah,
a company that uses AI now to write articles with good old Valnet. But
hey, I used it for console warring, so that's fine.
Yeah.
The thing about the AI images is now is like they all look the same. Like I can look at an image like it's AI. They all got this weird glossy look to it, and it's like, I remember when you guys first started doing it, it was kind of funny, but now everybody and their mother does it. Hell, they use it in like the political warring, and it's just the mothers and the dads and the aunts and the uncles on Facebook have discovered AI and shit, and it's like, oh great,
It is
it's
weird,
more
though,
cringe. It's cringe now. When before you could at least be like, oh okay, that's somewhat interesting. Now it's just like I see an AI image, and I'm like, this. Totally cringe, It
is funny though because, like you say, you can tell when it's AI. Like AI can't tell when it's AI. It's like when you have like these, these high schools and universities that have like these AI detection software. It's all bullshit. AI cannot detect AI, but humans can detect AI. You can always tell when it's an AI image, even when it's like a really good video or reconstruction. There's always something uncanny about it. I don't know.
But... you mentioned about Dragon Age, right? So EA just had their financial results. So NCAA football had 5 billion unique players in 1 week.
5 billion?
5 million. 5 million unique players in a week.
Players. Okay, yeah.
And according to their slide here, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, looks like it's releasing...
September.
The Veilguard's listed in Q3 between October and December. So release it between October and December.
Dang. I had September for that one. I guess it got delayed. I wonder if that means we're getting Shattered Space in September then.
Well, I mean, you'd have to announce that pretty soon, considering it's almost September. I mean, it's almost August.
Baby. Shadow drop that shit, baby. But nah, you're right. I don't know. I'm really, really concerned about Dragon Age, dude.
Yeah.
I don't.
Guys, how are you feeling about Xbox's upcoming game slate? next couple years? How are you feeling about it?
Well, this year is a bit, I don't know, a bit dry. Well, I don't know where I guess I'm waiting for Gamescom for these Avowed and Indiana Jones kind of look. I have a feeling, just a feeling. It's not based on any information that Avowed is gonna be not that great. It just get this vibe of like a passion project kind of vibe. I keep looking at the gameplay and I feel like it looks a little bit stilted and whatnot. So Obsidian
that's like Jazz can't wait for that game. Don't you say that? Don't you put that in?
I'm doing a Jazz. I'm doing it. You remember how Jazz was when the CMA stuff? It's not going through. It's going to be. Maybe I don't want to do. But the thing is though, I just a sense. It's not just based on my observations. I feel like this might be like a mid 70s meta game. I don't know. Maybe. I hope I'm wrong there. Indiana Jones looks great as well, but to me, again, this will be like a low to mid 80s meta game. And now people are like, guess why are you thinking about meta? I'm just trying to, for the sake of conversation. Both games, well, Avowed I'm not really that big looking forward to. It looks okay. But Indiana Jones I'm looking forward to the most. It's the following year where things get very interesting for me.
Yeah.
So that's where, I'm really sourced up for Perfect Dark, because I think Perfect Dark is Perfect Dark next year?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, they didn't give it a date. I'm assuming Perfect Dark is 2026.
Yeah. Well, Fable is next year.
Yeah, and they just they just opened a new studio at Playground.
I know. Bro, Playground is probably the Xbox's best studio now. No?
I mean, once they drop Fable, we'll be able to tell, right?
I don't want to jinx things because Xbox will always just look. I vouch for Starfield. It was a great game, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Game of the Gen contender. There's not there. I vouched for Forza Motorsport. That really hurt me because I lost to the ponies with Gran Turismo. I believed in Turn 10 and they let me down. But what else was there? I didn't really vouch for Redfall. I thought it was going to be a good game, actually. I made a video on how good it would be.
And Hellblade 2.
Hellblade 2 I actually thought was really good, but I knew it was going to be divisive. I enjoyed it, but there was the major glaring weaknesses in that, which I was very surprised by Ninja Theory on the gameplay front that they allowed this to happen. But do not cut that studio and continue supporting them, because Microsoft doesn't have a studio like them there. They just need to grow and have some pressure into actually doing something that's less artsy-fartsy and a lot more gameplay effective. But next year, I think, thing is, generally, if you ask me how the generation goes, this can average as Xbox has done decently well, carried by your usuals, like Forza. But Fable and Perfect Dark are the big ones. Now, next year, the Fable, in my opinion, stands the chance of being Xbox's best game this generation. 92, 93 meta game. Like, this could potentially be there. It just looks like it because Playground have great pedigree. The game looks absolutely stunning. I just feel like they'll take it further than Peter Molyneux ever could take Fable. So I'm really excited for Fable, man. I think that is going to be a big one. Perfect Dark is the next big one that I'm really looking forward to, but that's 2026. Gears of War, I don't think it will be next year. I think it'll be 2026. And I just feel like it will be I can hear some straining in the back, but I think it will be a 2026 launch with the next box. But some people like Tom Warren think it's coming next year, and I'm like,
I mean, that's what he's reporting, or maybe that is targeting next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like it. I mean, why not?
Right? I mean, I wouldn't like it.
Whenever the game's finished.
Whenever the game's finished, that's fine, yeah. But have you seen the shit they said that the game's gonna have? It basically like a path traced version of the game, with ray trace reflections, shadows, all of that stuff. And I feel like if you're going to give us the definitive experience, I want to see Gears of War with the bells and whistles. Imagine Gears of War, the next one. We saw I have not seen Xbox seen in such a positive light with the reactions for Gears of War E-Day. And I was cold on Gears of War, man. And Gears of War E-Day got me sourced up. But if you're telling, bro, let me tell you this, bro. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent here. Your people,
tangent away,
subs. I'm sorry. I know people in the comments. I can see it now. This guy's so annoying. Doesn't shut the up. But I don't care. So look, think about the impact here. Look, Xbox, when they launched, the sacrilege, they didn't even release with one bloody exclusive for the platform. So imagine you release, and the hardware is the software is all lining up now. All the bullshit with COVID has ended. All of that stuff. Development is funneling through, and imagine a next-gen Gears of War launching with that hardware. It makes you give that 360 vibes. Go a year before PlayStation, when they've released their PlayStation 5 Pro, you release whatever the hell this next Xbox is going to be, and you have Gears of War along with Blade and some other games launching. You make it priority.
I mean, it depends on the year. I mean, you could have Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
But then GAZ though. See, I've thought about that, but then I've thought about, well, is that good for Game Pass?
Shut the
I'm just saying, because Microsoft would have to think, for them, like, could we launch Gears of War and Blade and Perfect Dark together as launch titles for the next system? But then also we have to sell Game Pass, and we need monthly drops, or one a quarter, or whatever they're talking about. Where's the next Forza Horizon? What if they launch Forza Horizon with it, right?
So what?
I mean, I'm just saying.
They launched Forza Horizon, and they launched the Gears of War and Blade. It basically mimicked the 360 launch that launched with Project Gotham Racing, Perfect Dark Zero, which didn't make a big splash. But then Gears of War a few months later, along with some great games at launch of the 360 gen. What you're trying to do is replicate the hype. Look, one thing really pissed me off. I was watching the Iron Lords, and I really like Aaron Greenberg as a person. He's really nice. And he kept saying this thing which he didn't get any pushback on, which I would have pushed back on, was that, we have so many games, we have a problem where we don't know where to space them out. And I'm like, bruh, you literally had like a Hellblade for the entire year.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of time.
They say that because like they saved everything for the fall between September and November. It's like, you have a problem spacing games because you saved it all for the end.
Yeah, exactly. They have that stupid issue all the time. Look, I'm telling you this. I understand the need to get these spikes up on Game Pass because you've got bloody Satya Nadella, like the Sauron, watching this performance because his bonus depends on the uptick. But if you're thinking about long-term, precise, an actual plan for your 360 or your Xbox to actually make a splash, you have to think smart. You have to have a shock to the system, which is what Game Pass was devised to be. Something so good value that they thought it would just sell itself. In many ways, it did to up to 35 million without their crap marketing. But you have to really make a splash. Now, you release this next box, which is supposed to be a hybrid, God knows what, modular PC thing. I don't even know what it is. But Xbox needs to be do something inventive, whatever. You launch that, and you got Gears of War, and you've got Blade, and you've got the next Forza. Boom, there and then. And PlayStation has nothing but the PS5 Pro the year before. You're going to pull people into this console, man. Doesn't matter if it's spread across, you've made a statement like the 360. This is the one.
You're also assuming that the next Xbox is 2026.
The whole strategy relies upon Xbox actually going a year early, which is a fundamental.
Well, that would be 2 years. That would be 2 years early,
bro. Well, 26, 2027, whatever it is. But if I was Microsoft with these crappy hardware sale numbers, just you have to make it priority to go as early as possible. Obviously, that has to line up with your software plan. Software has to line up with hardware. So you have to have the next box, and you have to have all these games at the same time. It has to work that way.
Yeah, but okay, let me ask you this though. Okay. I sort of agree with you because like one of the things the Series X launch was lacking was like launch titles, right?
Yeah.
Although people really didn't seem to care because they bought the system anyways. If you're launching the new console with those games, as you mentioned, would it really even matter considering those games are going to be on cross-gen anyways?
Absolutely. It'll make a difference, man.
Okay,
People want to play.
Okay.
bro, the start of this generation, everything was cross-gen anyway. Same with the PlayStation 5, PlayStation with the Xbox. Well, Xbox didn't even have any games, but most of the games, apart from Demon Souls, which is more niche anyway, was cross-gen. So was Spider-Man, Horizon, whatever. Forbidden West, like it doesn't make a difference. Ultimately, you want to entice people to an Xbox. The definitive experience is going to be on the next Xbox. People will associate, assuming how you market the thing with the mass market. If you market the next box with these games, people will buy it. The people who haven't bought an Xbox at all, what are they going to do? Are they actually going to look at these games and go like, "Ooh, can I play on the old consoles that I haven't bought, or am I going to buy in the new shiny thing?" Absolutely, they're going to look at the new Xbox, because that's what your marketing is going to suggest. Next Xbox hybrid console, because that's going to be a big, oh shit, what I can play. It's like the ultra powerful Switch that I can use as a PC. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is going to be, but this, I pray, no matter how unlikely this is going to be, a modular console that mixes PC with mobile and also has a customization. It's my dream. But whether or not Xbox will take that risk, I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't matter if it's cross-gen. Xbox will market the next box, whatever it is, all these games,
and the handheld,
and the handheld. So this it's interesting. You mentioned handheld like a separate thing.
I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
The handheld. There's going to be a separate handheld, and there's going to be a Series X successor.
Oh, okay. So you're seeing them as two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay,
it's going to be two different things. They're not just going to try and go all in on a handheld only. They're going to do a more traditional console for the Series X people, and then a handheld, maybe.
How do you feel about that, Gaz? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm reminded by. I'm actually okay with that, because a handheld, on its own, raised questions about power and how you do that with the docking and whatnot. Now the traditional console, I think, needs to be different. I think it needs to be, well, I don't know, me and Jez were having conversations a while back, but I think you wrote an article on it as well, right? Like the Steam kind of PC hybrid device. Yeah, I think Xbox needs to tap into those strengths. If it's going to do dedicated hardware, and it's going to be, when Sarah Bond goes, largest leap we've ever seen, and I'm just like, bruh,
largest tech leap. That doesn't necessarily mean power, though. It could mean AI cores, baby. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But I want something very different, and I feel like they have the opportunity to do that. Okay, fine. If the handheld is something separate, fine, fair enough. That makes it more simpler for me, just in terms of concept. But it needs to look. You've got a growing market of people. Like the new generation of kids are asking for PCs. They're asking for gaming PCs. Imagine you have a modular upgraded hardware that we have custom like plates, custom RGB lights, custom like stuff. Right now, people are just dying for like little controllers and stuff, and they make so much money off these things. But if you make a custom modular PC hybrid, which these are glorified PCs anyway, these boxes, but you give some kind of like modular PC element to it, it will distinguish Microsoft's hardware from the competition massively, and you can tap into your I know they're a software company primarily, but if you distinguish that, that's the best chance you have. Microsoft and Phil Spencer also said that they wanted to be, when it comes to hardware, they wanted to be original in some of its design, like with their software. And I don't know what they're alluding to with software. Maybe quick resumers creatively different. But what that suggested was that they're going to be maybe perhaps just limited to their handheld, very unique in its design. So he made that statement very purposefully. So I'm intrigued to see what kind of creative design they're going to come up with their hardware. I don't expect this to be a ROG Ally Steam Deck kind of controller. There's going to be something that's a differentiator beyond just a handheld Xbox. And I hope the same principle applies to the Series XS successor. So something different. It needs to be different, man. Otherwise, Xbox is going to be resigned to the same fate.
Another differentiator that could do is no paywall for online.
Yeah, they're not going to say no to that money. Unless they roll it up to Game Pass eventually.
Don't be so sure.
Jazz is talking.
You know, it just kind of a tangent here.
Just predicting.
Oh, you're predicting. Is this a Jazz prediction in quotes?
Yeah, I'm predicting a Series X successor, a handheld, and the end of the paywall for premium multiplayer games. That's my prediction.
Ooh-wee.
That would be an interesting development.
Yeah, it's just a prediction.
They would have to get rid of Xbox Game Pass Core then, because it wouldn't serve a purpose.
Good.
Yeah, maybe it just wouldn't be available next gen.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do want to just say, because I'm on Twitter, and
I predict that they'll keep the paywall for the last gen, but they'll remove it for the new gen.
That would give people an incentive to
upgrade. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Upgrade. Yeah. It's funny because I see a lot of memes going around about Xbox's 42% decline, and people are bringing up Xbox's ad for like no console needed, for the Amazon thing. And I don't want to be the guy that goes, actually,
but
as you like put your glasses in there, considering that ad dropped on July 8th, and these results are for April, May, and June.
Yeah, no. When I put that in there, not just to be like mocking of the fact, oh no, this is directly a result of it. No,
that ad came later, so
no, it's not literally me just taking fun of it, but it's basically just an extension of Microsoft's marketing. That's basically that whole thing. Kind of sums up how Xbox treats the X console, which feels like a second-class citizen, which is why that ad is just kind of cherry on top.
I guess you could say, what are people going to buy on Xbox April, May, and June? I mean, do you even remember what came out in April, May, and June?
Bruh, apart from what Hellblade, there was nothing, and hardly anyone bought that. So,
I don't think anyone really bought that. So, I'm trying to even think of any big third-party releases, and I'm struggling to think of any in that time frame. I mean, I'm sure maybe there were, but I don't even... Compared to last year? Last year had Star Wars in May, I think. Around that time, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Last year also had Redfall. Yeah!
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Last year had a lot more games, a lot bigger games. Last year was stacked with stuff. This year...
When I heard Aaron Greenberg say, look, we have so many games, nowhere to place them. We're like, bruh, there's plenty of the months in this year, man. Just pick one.
That is the one thing I just like. Xbox always forgets the first 9 months of the year exist. And their pledge to, hey, one game a quarter, one big game a quarter, it's like, it's going to be tough for you guys to do because you guys forget January through August even exist half the time.
Bro, it's always been an Xbox problem. This is when Cole Eastwood went to this event and he spoke to Matt Booty, and Matt Booty said the same thing. He goes, oh, look, I've got a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and I don't know, we have the struggle of where to place the games. That was like 2 years ago. I'm like, bruv, are you still
you gotta remember, though, they're also thinking about third party when they say that. Because they're a platform holder and they have to think about, like, well, we'll fuck over this game if we launch here. And I know what they think about those things. I know they do.
They don't think properly, bruv. What this year?
Yeah,
look
I
at
get
it.
your point, though. There's not really been that much content to even pick from, I think, this year. But I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk about all this stuff, and I keep thinking about like how
sexy iron.
Well, there's that. But I keep thinking things like none of this is just cynically speaking. I can't help but feel like none of this stuff's going to move the needle. I keep thinking about...
What one move the needle?
Like, none of these games, like Avowed and all these games that look good, like Fable, none of these games I feel like are going to move the needle because it's all to the same, like, millennial, Gen X kind of aged people that all just want to sort of...
Pack it up, Xbox! Jez Corden has said your future is doomed unless you're Fortnite.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, just because I keep thinking about how millennials have got no time to play, and they've got kids now, and they're broke, and they're getting from work, and they're too depressed to play anything because of the weight of the world, and they just lie in bed and cry and look at the ceiling, not projecting or anything. But I just keep thinking about how like the fundamental issue is like here in some capacity is it is an existential cultural crisis. I think like as millennials' behavior changes and evolves as they get older, you really need the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha to replace those millennials who maybe they're dropping off gaming for a variety of reasons. Maybe they've just got less time. Maybe they've got little kids of their own, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, we've got this credit card data that suggests people are spending less on gaming than ever, not more, at least in the time frame of this chart. So, you know, and this is credit card data from like your Visas and your MasterCards and shit like that, right? So you kind of have to change fundamentally your approach to this stuff. And I do think Game Pass is a great vehicle to protect the tradition that we enjoy as traditional, variety-minded gamers. But increasingly, like, a lot of these kids, they grow up watching streamers who only play one game. And, you know, they only play your Fortnite, and they only play this, and they only play that. And we already talked about the issue with black hole games and things like that. But I kind of feel like Microsoft needs to have a fundamental shift about how it thinks about Xbox as a platform, and think less of it like the games speak for themselves, and start thinking about how can we make the platform itself more of a fun place to be, a fun place to hang out, a fun place for social stuff, a fun place to...
Oh, here comes the metaverse.
Kind of.
Reborn.
But it's more...
1 versus 100, baby. Bring it back.
I mean, yeah, seriously. Like, but I'm thinking more in line with sort of what Steam does. And I think Steam has an advantage because...
What does Steam do?
Okay, well, Steam is like... I would argue that Steam is a lot more social than Xbox, for one thing. Because but they've got an advantage here, because every Steam device has a keyboard attached to it. Now, I think, like, Xbox has an issue there, because typing with a controller is a ball ache in the first instance. But also, I think Microsoft doesn't do themselves any favors by overly policing everything you can do on Xbox Live. So people are kind of...
He wants racial slurs to be back, everyone. He wants the Call of Duty lobbies back.
I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm just sort of like the freedom to just feel like you're not being watched all the time, I suppose.
Oh, the NSA, we're back to Connect and Xbox One generation.
Yeah, kind of.
Well done.
But that's why a lot of kids have gone to Discord, you know, to make their own private social spaces. I don't think you really have that on Xbox in the same level. And yeah, you can use Discord on Xbox, but at the same time, it's like no one's got a keyboard attached to Xbox, and you know,
I can send voice messages, and young people send voice notes all the time. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, there are elements there, but what I'm getting at is, and I don't have the answer because someone paid way more than me should come up with the answer probably. But what I'm just thinking of, like, Xbox Live itself needs to fundamentally change, and I think getting rid of the paywall is the first step to that. But also, like, things like user-generated content, but centralized somehow on the platform in a similar kind of way to how you've got the Steam Workshop has a centralized kind of platform for user-generated content. And also, like how Roblox is a platform. I think Microsoft needs to think of Xbox more in those terms rather than the sort of the boomery kind of terms, which, you know, I mean, Gen Z would say it's boomerish, I suppose. But if
it was me and I was the way I would do the next Xbox is make it more PC side. So like you're talking about keyboards and stuff, give the option to people to do that, but also double down on things that the new gen wants. Like if you ask the new gen of people, they want to be streamers. Yeah, you're sharing functionality, Xbox sharing all of that is bollocks, is crap compared to everything.
Exactly.
Give a nice editing suite that works well with your mobile, integrated with TikTok and Instagram and whatnot to make your shorts, have really compelling editing software. So, you know, the Xbox One was ahead in many ways because they wanted to have this Twitch kind of integration and streaming. In many ways, they were ahead of the game, actually, but their execution fell flat on its face. But if you deliver A lot of the new, you ask kids why they want to go PC. Why do they want to go PC? Because they have that kind of freedom. That kind of environment you're alluding to is exactly what they could get. But even in a more closed off, regulated Xbox environment, but that's streamlined, that gets rid of all the headaches associated with PC. Within the Xbox environment, does really cool streaming, give them multitude of options on the streaming platforms of customizations of your streaming. But it will sell. But Xbox doesn't even have like basic sharing functionality that works as well as it should. So I think that's what this is a conversation that at Xbox HQ they'll have R&D teams that will be working back and forth and trying to figure out and have access to all these metrics. But I just feel like, you think that they're a $1 trillion company and they have all these resources available to them, they'll make the nice informed decision, but they really don't, because even down to their game testing, Hellblade, internally, they were testing it. They thought it was going to be a 90+ meta game. And I could have told them that's absolutely not going to be the case. It's going to be a divisive as hell game. Remember, Rand, our conversations when we were playing Hellblade in the background? We were
yeah, I remember.
This could go, we kind of called it. Like, this could be a low 80s to mid 80s, depending on where the media takes it. But never 90s. Like, when is this going to be?
Than I thought it was going to score, to be honest.
Exactly. So Xbox are really out of touch. Their R&D teams don't seem to be really in the grassroots. But that's the kind of thing they can do. Yeah, but you're fundamentally right, Jez. It's just all about trying to create a compelling environment where you're pulling people into this digital space. And Game Pass is the primary weapon on a value basis. But value, not just value, but you just know that if you tell your friends to come on Game Pass, everyone's going to be on the level playing field.
Yeah, but the problem with that, though, and I've said this before on the show, is value is not exciting. Yeah. It's not an exciting proposition to go out and get something.
Value is just a weapon to invite people.
But I mean,
everything else supplements it.
But if your whole selling point is value,
then Xbox is doomed, because that's what Xbox's value is. The selling point
it's like nobody's super excited to everybody wants to save money, but that's not why. Like, I need to get an Xbox because I can save money because of Game Pass or whatever. I don't think that necessarily works.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but that's your primary weapon to induce people coming into an environment that already looks amazing.
I do agree with that, and I think what they really need is they really need some games that are true must plays. Because I was thinking about this earlier, and we bring up Starfield, and I love Starfield. I don't give a shit. I know there was that whole hate campaign against Starfield, and expectations for the game were kind of crazy and wild. Mm-hmm. But I really do feel like when you look at it now, it's over 14 million players right now, right? You have the DLC coming up. You have all the updates they've made to the game. You have a second DLC, which kind of sort of leaked. That's coming next year, Starborn, what have you. But I feel that if Starfield was rated like Skyrim was.
Yeah, 92. Yeah. It'd be the zeitgeist.
That would have been a completely different scenario, because I just remember.
Phil Spencer disagrees with you, though. Phil Spencer absolutely disagrees with you.
I know he does. I know he does. But I'm also looking at games that, like, for instance, Elden Ring. We talked about that earlier, right? Elden Ring, at its core, is Dark Souls open world. But the Dark Souls games are really niche. I know people talk them all the time and people love them, but they're not exactly 10+ million sellers. They're usually kind of like in the 3 to 5 million range. And somehow Elden Ring was able to burst through that barrier and sell not only 10 million, not only 20 million, but is past 25 million now or whatever it is. And you have to sit there and think to yourself, well, how did that happen? Like, how did it go from this? Is there a stigma against the Dark Souls name? But I really do think part of it is the reviews. When that game got a 97, all of a sudden everybody wanted to try it.
Absolutely.
It was like a must-play thing that you had to, wherever you're at, PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, you need this game. And
the same thing happened with Dune 2.
Yeah. I
Dune
sort of
1
feel
didn't
like
see massive numbers, but Dune 2, because the reviews were so high, everyone started talking about it.
And I feel like if Starfield had replicated that Skyrim, where this game's a 95 and it's like, this is a must-play thing, then instead of the 14 million players Starfield has right now, I bet you that's probably 20 million at this point, right? And I feel like more people would have been like, all right, and maybe it's like you need more than one. So you need like Starfield, you would need Hellblade, you would need Fable and stuff. But I think one of the core things missing from Xbox is that must-have factor, where it's a game that is a generation-defining experience. And it's great that you can have all these live service stuffs, from Call of Duties to Diablos to World of Warcraft to Sea of Thieves, and all that stuff that people play every single day, every single month, every single year, and it's content all over the place. That's going to bring in all that money. But if you start hitting on your quality, where instead of just it's a ho-hum 75 like Minecraft Legends that everybody forgets about a week later.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
If it's like Fable, what Gaz mentioned before, if like Fable is, because it sort of seems like they really do believe in Playground more so than maybe some of their other studios. It seems like they're really given a budget that a lot of the other studios aren't really afforded. Another studio to help build Fable, Eidos Montreal, co-deving on the game. That's a big studio as well. It feels there's a lot of expectations, and maybe rightly so, that if it reviews incredibly well, it could have that must play thing, and then the only place to play it is Xbox or PC, and then you'll start seeing, and it's next gen only. People start to upgrade, all those sort of things that come along with it. I think that's one of the things Xbox is truly mission at this point.
Yeah.
Is that generation defining experience that speaks to everybody. And Phil's thing of like, oh well, if even if Starfield's 11 out of 10, we won't outsell PlayStation. Obviously, I think that's the truth. Like, just Starfield being good, suddenly Xbox isn't going to outsell what PlayStation's doing. But I think Xbox would have done a lot better. They would have probably sold more Game Pass subscriptions. They would have sold more consoles. Probably, they would have just done more business, right?
Absolutely. And this is the fundamental issue with Microsoft, because Phil Spencer disagrees with you. He
doesn't disagree with me. I mean, I agree with him in the sense that just Starfield being good isn't gonna. They're not going to outsell PlayStation.
No one's gonna say that.
But
one
that was
game.
The question was about outselling PlayStation. That's not going to happen.
It's going to take a sustained set of consistent, high quality games to shift the balance. When Nintendo releases its games, you just take notice because they're going to be highly rated. PlayStation it may take its time, long gestation and development times, but when Sucker Punch makes this game, you can expect it to review well. In Naughty Dog, whatever, Guerrilla Games, whatever, you just expect them to do well. Insomniac, all of them. Xbox does not have that association, and Xbox is now main studio 343, after spending 500 million, God knows how much, on development of Halo Infinite, faltered tremendously. So did like Turn 10, even though it's a racing game. All of this has an additive effect. Now, Phil Spencer goes into party chats and tells Colt that, after the Xbox showcase event, what, irrespective of how good this showcase is, it won't make a difference to sales. And when he's saying things like that, it's like,
I mean, of course it won't. Why would it?
Of course it won't. Why would it? But the fundamental thing is you
can't buy any of those games now. Why would it have an effect?
Exactly. And this defeatist kind of attitude, basically implanting reasons.
That's defeatist, Gaz. I think that's just realist.
No, but that's realism, just trying to conceal the failures of Xbox that he has a part, or his team, or Xbox generally has a part to play in, because their inconsistency and inability to deliver throughout the generation is what's led them to be in this position. So they have an uphill battle again to fight where they have to show consistency. Avowed and Indiana Jones aren't going to move the needle. Let's be honest, even critically, if any of us, if they got high 80s, we'd be very happy. None of us are expecting to be 90 metas. I'd love to be wrong, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form expecting these two games to be a 90 meta. Fable, yes. Perfect Dark, not really, but I know I love the game, but I can imagine it being an 88, whatever. But the thing is, you can only name some of these games. Gears of War, yes, another one. You can only on your hand name these kind of critical, like high-scoring games, and they're really important for the discussion for what you mentioned. Like, even if the masses don't frequent Metacritic, even if the masses don't care about review, they will care through word of mouth. Elden Ring was the outlier that proved that this niche game dominated everything. So I've never seen anything like it.
Maybe it really had to do about dropping the Dark Souls name. Maybe the Dark Souls name is tainted.
Could be.
Where it has a lot of baggage for people that don't like that style of game.
It's so important that you mentioned that as well. It goes to speak to the potential value of naming conventions, which also is so fundamentally important for Xbox and its hardware, and whatever the next Xbox is going to be, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
fuck up the name again. Microsoft.
I know they will. We all know they will.
I mean, it should be the Xbox Series X2. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be.
No, please don't call it that. That'd be horrible.
It's not going to be called that. No way.
Please don't call it Series X2.
I mean, I don't know why they would that. What would you call it? Xbox 4? Xbox 5?
Yeah.
After they buy Sega, Xbox Dreamcast. I'm not going to come up with a name for the next box.
I mean, yeah, their naming conventions are dumb. So maybe they want to get rid of the series moniker because they might feel there's too much negativity moniker. Surrounding it. Perhaps I don't know.
It's just stupid if they went for the series again. This is like confusing the shit out thing. It's like, it's another. Was it mid-gen? What is it? Just a different version of the X or? Drop it completely. If you call it Xbox Series anything, I genuinely think people in Microsoft HQ drink bleach for breakfast. Do not call it Series anything. Do not call it that. It'd be stupid.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna call it. But
when they called I remember watching the E3 when they released the name of the Xbox One. I said Xbox One, and I literally face desked into my desk. My forehead smacked into it. I was like, boom, Xbox One? Like, what a shit name. So dumb.
I think they should just probably call it Xbox 4.
Well, no, I mean, you're already past Xbox 4. Nah. OG Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series. That's already 4. Be Xbox 5.
We'll do that then.
I guess you could call it the Xbox 6 somehow and maybe make it on par with the PS6. So it doesn't feel like it's one gen behind or whatever.
Count the Series S as a console.
Or count the 1X or whatever. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to call it a number, it would be the 5th. But, guys, the 360 store shut down yesterday. Do you have any fond memories of the 360 and that time period?
Do I have fond memories of the 360 and the time period? Oh my god. 360 gen was the best gen of gaming for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Full stop.
100%.
It was beautiful. Just how I took it for granted back then.
You sure did, didn't we? We did.
We did.
We didn't know how good we had it, did we?
Oh man, I never thought we always thought it was gonna get better and better and better. And man, bro, I pre-ordered my 360 in 3 different stores way in advance. I was this ultra nerd at university, and I was like, I've ordered it, and I still didn't get one. I had to wait a month. And when I did get it, because I got a part-time job and everything to be able to buy this thing. I was working at Superdrug here in the UK, which is like a pharmacy, just getting paid like £4, which was nothing of an hour, and just working my arse off to get this 360. And when I got it, man, it was my first experience playing online. And the first thing anyone ever said to me online was "shut up," which was I'll never forget. I didn't realize my mic was on. And that generation, it holds a special place in my heart, man, as it does for you, as it does for everyone. That's the generation you hit 1 million, right?
Yeah, no, Xbox One gen.
Xbox One gen. Okay.
I mean, they just started achievements during the 360 gen.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, so yeah, that would take you a while. A million. This is insane. Still to this day, is insane to me. Yeah, but bro, like that's the gen that brought achievements, that made you who you are, really, in your name.
The man with the million, indeed.
No, and when I think of the 360 gen, I think of a few games. Geometry Wars comes to mind a lot. I used to love Geometry Wars.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Geometry Wars is very incredible. What else? What else do you think of? What are some?
I mean, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and those lobbies were incredible for me.
COD games, yeah.
Oh man, the amount of fun I had.
Are you a Modern Warfare guy or a Black Ops guy?
No, Modern Warfare. The old Infinity Ward, which now became Respawn.
Infinity Ward versus Treyarch. Infinity Ward all the way.
All day. They became Respawn, which is basically who made Titanfall. Let's be real. And bro, I have so many memories, man. Halo 3, Crackdown, getting the beta code to play that.
Yep.
Oh, Halo just took over
Halo 3
my
midnight
life.
launch. Oh,
bro, the midnight launch. The whole.
I don't feel like amazingly nostalgic about a 360 gen personally.
Really?
Yeah, in the face.
I don't. Yeah. I think a lot of people saying it was the best gen are just nostalgia-ing around, man. I think the Xbox One gen was the best gen so far.
You're taking the piss.
Nah, for real, man.
What you talking about? The Xbox One's the best gen.
It had Monster Hunter in it, man.
Oh my god, here we go.
Oh
my god,
here we go. Someone clip this and share it so I can make his life difficult on Twitter, please. Xbox One gen.
Dude.
Bro, I know you're taking the piss.
I mean, Gears of War. Fable.
I think the truth is, I was more of a PC gamer at 360 gen. So, a lot of those nostalgic moments for me were oftentimes World of Warcraft related. So, I did kind of, in a way, miss out, I suppose. But I do have some really great memories of that gen. Like Dragon Age Origins, I love that game so much. I played it to death.
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect was alright, I guess.
I'm just saying, like, not just one. The Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah, Skyrim.
The BioShock games. Saints Row. Assassin's Creed. Right? Like, I mean, how many incredible franchises began during that generation?
Fallout 3.
Oh, man.
Fallout 3 was a big
and not only you didn't have to wait long. It was like 2 years, 3 years at the most for another game in the franchise. Instead of now where it's like, hey, guess what? You're gonna get Fable in 2025 and probably not another Fable game until 10 years or whatever it is. Or however long it takes them to do another Fable game or whatever. Yeah. 360, bro. Seriously. Best gen ever.
Without a doubt.
It was alright.
It was amazing. I mean, if my second runner-up would be the PS2 gen.
Yeah, same. Exact same.
PS2, 360. Yeah. I know a lot of people might point like, dude, Super Nintendo, bro, or N64, PS1 generation.
Actually, my second would be N64, PS1 day. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 360 gen, incredible. Not only then the advent of Xbox Live Arcade. Games like Raid and Shadow Complex and Castle Crashers and like the introduction of digital and all those things and Netflix coming to the console for the first time and changing things around. Netflix parties and man, it was such a
tail end. Yeah. Left 4 Dead was a really big experience for me, man.
Yeah, Valve, with the Orange Box and...
Orange Box, holy shit. Yeah, I remember that. Amazing.
What an amazing generation. Absolutely killer generation.
It's pretty good.
It was the best. It was the best.
It shocked, where Microsoft shocked the world, where Xbox actually, in my opinion, basically won that generation, where it was... And where people, I remember the articles really well. I used to buy a magazine called 360 Magazine and run up to the launch of this. I used to write articles on it or whatever. And I remember the discourse around Xbox when Ken Kutaragi said, Xbox is not even a brown belt and we're a black belt. We work two jobs to get this thing, and even journalists were writing it off. Like it was almost a done deal. It was just like, well, Xbox is a nothing, but this year head start, maybe it might make a little difference. Or this was unison across the board. No one was saying Xbox is coming and it's gonna make a big splash. It was all met with general pessimism, which is what was understandable because PlayStation has had a whole generation extra above Xbox. Xbox cut its the classics gen short, like the Lifeline short, and went out a year early, and then boom, Xbox just killed it, man, by schooling PlayStation by a whole generation with its online play. And that's where Xbox really deserves its flowers, even though the Xbox Classic brought in online play with mandatory broadband required. It was the Xbox 360 with its party chat. It was that environment that Jez is talking about now, that it just felt like a place to chill. Like, it was amazing. That PlayStation was Sony copied the Xbox 360 playbook to create the PS4, and easy to develop for console, but actually have online complete fundamental, party game chat, party chat, all of that. And it's just that it wrote the playbook that Sony copied, really, which is, it's going to incite a lot of PlayStation zealots, but it's a fact. And it was just an incredible gen. So yeah, obviously the gen ended 2 gens ago, so the store closing it's just a way for us to reminisce about the past. But it was amazing. There's so many good games,
bro.
Yeah.
I just feel
I loved it.
You missed out, Jez.
Yeah, you piece of shit. How can you say Xbox One? I can't believe
Xbox One. Yeah.
I just feel like I keep thinking about all this stuff and just thinking like, how can we get back there, But then I can also think things like maybe it's just maxed out. Maybe this is the maximum that consoles can do in terms of user base,
I mean, it's been like that for a long time. There's basically 250 million people, and it's been like that for forever. It's just there's just that group of people that want consoles,
Yeah, I mean, the state has changed. It's a combination of our age as well. We were younger, so we had more time to kill, no responsibilities and all that bollocks, and enjoyed gaming, where it was just this. It was coming up, like playing online was this weird thing. Now, like, kids are brought up with the ability to play Fortnite everywhere. Like, their mobile games rival some console games. It's like, it'll never be the same in that way.
Yeah, think about it. It's basically almost 20 years old. Because it's 2024. Man. Can you imagine? Guess, how old would you have been if it was 20 years ago?
Guess.
15.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you would have been 15. Yeah, see? I mean, hell, I would be 20, 22, 23. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's very nostalgia filled, which is why I think people are really, really super hyped for Gears E-Day, because it's Dom and Marcus. And that's a game from 2005. That's, for a lot of people, that's their Xbox 360 was their first console, and now it's 20 years old. So it's this huge nostalgia play. So now the 360, it's like, oh, bro, because to me, when I think about the 360, it doesn't feel like it's 20 years old. Yeah, because then I start thinking, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm old.
Yep, we are.
But what was your single favorite 360 game? You gotta pick one. Gaz.
Why do you do this to me?
The single favorite experience, one game. I'll tell you mine if this helps, okay?
Okay, you go on. Tell me. You say Mass Effect, I'll kill you.
BioShock 1 is the single greatest experience I had on the 360.
Okay. Just immersive.
Well, because I had it a week early before all the reviews, so I didn't know what it was then going to be. And I remember just playing it and just being, my mouth just being ajar the whole time and just being like, holy fuck,
The intro
this is the coolest thing I've ever played.
You know, like
right?
The intro with the fire and stuff.
The intro with the fire,
I watched Dunkirk the other day, and there's that scene in Dunkirk where they're swimming under the water with the oil
under the water.
The water. The oil is burning above the water, and that really reminded me of BioShock. But yeah, man, what a game! Fantastic game.
Yeah, for me is BioShock. I don't know if there's going to be any game. I don't think there's been any experience since then that has ever come to that level for me. Like, seriously, it's one that when people ask you, hey, what game would you want to replay if you could, like, erase your memory? Like, erase your memory of that experience. And it'd be like, let me relive that BioShock experience from, you know? It was so impactful for me.
That's amazing.
So what about for you?
For me, gaming has always been more of a social affair. When I used to have my own Quake 3 clan. I handed out discs to people in my college, like yo. I didn't even know these guys. Like I remember they're crowded around a foosball table. I gave them burned version of Quake 3 on a disc that I'd written. I said, yo, play this with me. That's how I was. I was just a weird, extroverted person, and I had recruited people to play Quake with me. So, and I'm thinking, the 360 gen, I had so many moments, man. I can tell you some incredible moments with Left 4 Dead and all of that. But I think the highlight has to be, it's going to be a very generic response, but I think it would have to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Playing that with our crew, we were so good at one point, people would recognize us in the lobbies. They'd be like, oh, it's that guy. And it was, I remember we were untouchable, but it was more the social experiences. It was a combination of the absolute banter, the absolute vitriol that was being, because you got a bunch of Asian sounding guys, so you get a lot of people who are racist. So we had a mixed group of friends. It's not like today where you got cancelled. You're like, cry, oh my god, he called me the P slur, and I'm like, we would just give it back. It was just the environment back then. There was none of this cancel culture nonsense. So it was like pretty, just the absolute jokes we had. I can remember so many stories of us just creasing with laughter. Like, I had 148 tactical nukes that I was counting, and then I stopped counting on it. It's just the social element of gaming manifested to a level which I always dreamt of, like always thought of, and it was there. And I enjoyed it with my cousins, with my group of friends. All came together to become basically friends. I made friends through Xbox that are my close friends in real life today. Such a beautiful experience, and obviously that spilled out to Halo and whatnot. But it was Call of Duty that brought together all my friends, because there was a skill ceiling where we got better. They got my cousins who may not be like the pro players, but they were there still enjoying it, and it was accessible to them as well. So yeah, like Modern Warfare 2 for me was just a beautiful moment, just a beautiful gen. And then that led to...
That was what, 2009, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because 2007 was Modern Warfare. And then, 8 was World at War. I think that's... Jazz, didn't you love World at War?
Yeah, World at War is probably my favorite one overall. But I think the one that I had the best social experience of was probably Black Ops 1, I think. I think it was when, because I played Modern Warfare 1, Call of Duty 4, and I thought it was okay, but I don't know, I was playing it by myself, and it was so different from Unreal Tournament that I couldn't really get into it. And then I played Modern Warfare 2, just because everyone was, it was the hype game of the moment, and I did get into that for some reason. I think it's because I found a build that I really liked that was kind of like, I don't know, it kind of gave me an almost Unreal Tournament vibe, and it was because it let me spam the grenade launcher over and over again. It was like scavenger perk, and then undersling grenade launcher, and then grenades. And I was like, okay, well now it's like having a rocket launcher in Unreal Tournament. I'm happy with that. I got really good with that until I think they nerfed that build at some point. I was just firing starting the match and then firing grenades over the the map and killing people right at the start of the match. It's one of those kind of really annoying builds for people. So I really enjoyed that. But again, I was still sort of playing by myself at this point. But then I found a new social group, and I think this was like, it was when WoW started to drop off and a bunch of people started playing 360 more. And that's when Black Ops 1 came out, sorry. So weirdly, I think Black Ops 1 for me was the first Call of Duty social experience I had. But then it wasn't long after that we all bailed on Call of Duty for
Battlefield
Bad Company 2.
Oh yeah, the Battlefield games. Battlefield
Bad Company 2, man.
3,
so
Battlefield, the Bad Company 1 and 2. Oh, the Bad Company games. Oh man, 360 is just the best gen, bro. Seriously, like it's just the best multiplayer stuff. And you know the problem at least my friend group has with multiplayer games nowadays is like we eventually fall off, but then you'd always get a sequel before, right? You wouldn't have to worry about. You wouldn't have to like with Rainbow Six Siege, we played that for 200 hours, but then we fell off of it. And we're never going to get back on it because it's still Rainbow Six Siege. They're just adding more things to it. And it's like, we're never going to get on to play. We played Apex Legends for 100 hours. But we're never going to play it again. But we would play it again if Apex Legends 2 came out. We would play Rainbow Six Siege 2 if they ever released. We would play all these multiplayer games if they release sequels. Because it'd be brand new to us. We never go back to these live service games once we fall off of them. Like how long I played PUBG for, right?
Yeah.
800 hours. I never go back to PUBG, but I would if PUBG 2 came out.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's like that's irregular. Because I think a lot of I think there's just a fundamentally different way that the younger generation, like we're variety coded, our generation, I think, and we do get bored and we do want to try new things. But I hate to say this, but I think like the younger generations, they really look at like what influencers are playing. I think more so than ever. And I'm not saying that influencers didn't influence what games people played back then. But it feels like it's turned up to the nth degree in the sort of social media algorithm age. Like if a game isn't cool or perceived as cool, it's never going to catch on. Which is why I think Concord is doing from the outset. It just doesn't. And
that's what GAZ likes to hear. Concord.
Yeah. with stuff like that.
Oh god,
that's why
on the
Overwatch
slow
is
news
struggling
day,
right now. It's because it's not cool at the moment.
Well, I enjoyed PlayStation's existential crisis after just relegating multiplayer to its money-hacking antics, or the PS3 gen. It tries it out with its pivot, and Concord, which is a product of Bungie's input, just falls flat. I mean, the beta falls flat. Is there actually any hope for this game to do well? I highly doubt it, having played it.
I think if they made it free to play,
it could make a difference.
I think there's a chance.
So hollow,
but I think they would have to delay the game if they were going to do that.
I think so.
Because you would have to change the monetization.
Yeah.
You'd have to do some other things. I don't know if they'd be able to do that, but I don't know. We'll see. But I think charging $40 for a multiplayer game in this day and age where everything's free is basically the wrong strategy.
Yeah.
It works for something like Helldivers because Helldivers is a co-op game. But for strictly a multiplayer game, no. None. You can't do that because every other, like, people are going to not want to check it out. It's like, well, I have all these other games I can play for free. Why am I going to spend my money on this thing that looks just, especially when Valorant's now on consoles and Marvel Rivals is about to be on consoles and all the already existing stuff on there. Why is anybody going to pay for multiplayer? It's like the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just completely misreading the market, or maybe it's a Sony decision. Maybe Sony has this weird thing like our games have to be premium, right?
Yeah, maybe.
where they feel like we're a premium brand, so people are going to pay for our games, even our multiplayer ones. And it's like, okay, sure, you could try that, but is Concord the best one to do it with? I don't know. Then it makes you think, okay, what about their next one, guys? What about Fair Games?
I think they have a hard. I think some of them. I'm still looking at Marathon, but the fact that they changed it to a hero shooter last minute also doesn't bode well. I'll be surprised if Fair Games does well. But with PlayStation, I do firmly believe in PlayStation's first party studios. The thing is, they do their single player games well, and if it turns out that Fair Games and Concord and Marathon most fundamentally flop or don't do what they're supposed to, PlayStation after making this pivot to go where the money's at, may then just have to make a very difficult decision to commit to its single player vision, and then maybe go back to what I think is actually something I would welcome, which is having multiplayer modes for some single player games that could be good. Why does everything have to be bloody gas game, for God's sake? A multiplaer game.
That is true. Why does everything got to be a gas game?
I don't know why there's this thing that everything has to last forever, and I'm like, but the abundance of games there is such an unrealistic thing. Bring back multiplayer modes to games like we used to get. But if there is a good chance PlayStation could fumble this horribly, which means that PlayStation will always have this stain on itself for being unable to do what Xbox did, which is deliver a great multiplayer game. And I'm not talking about Helldivers. I'm talking about proper, a PvP multiplayer from its
which
first
is weird because
studios.
a lot of Xbox's games in development are single player co-op stuff, and they don't. But I mean, I guess that's what you're going to do because you have the Fallout 76s and the Call of Duties and the Halos and the all those experiences already made, and it's kind of like you're all ready to go. So it's like, yeah, what's the thing that Xbox sort of misses? And it's like that's stuff. But I don't know. I think I've said it before. Like I'm looking forward to the next couple of years of Xbox's titles. I know GAZ is. I know GAZ is. But here we are, talking about 42% decline in hardware, and nobody really wants to talk about that because nobody really knows how to solve it really outside of like we don't have any of the numbers or any of the.
I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't.
Well, I mean, you look at Twitter, it looks like people are it's a big deal. People are worried that Xbox is going to go away because they see that 42%.
I'll tell you what that means.
The game developers don't care. They just care about active customers.
But you know what that means, man? It means say goodbye to exclusivity, which is pretty much there anyway.
Who cares?
But what do you mean I care? Console wars. But generally, but forget console wars even, yeah? Like this whole thing. Jez, look, tell me, do you really think Xbox games going multi-plat will aid or assist competition between the platform makers, or do you think it's negligible?
I think it's negligible, personally. I think like if they stick to like timed exclusives and stuff like that, which I think they're gonna do by default, because I think some of their studios are just like, we don't want to do simultaneous shit. We prefer if you pay another studio to do the port or whatever. I think it is negligible personally, but I also think that the fundamental issue is that 250 million, a fixed number of people who want a console, and I think the issue that Xbox has with its hardware is that people aren't upgrading from Xbox One fast enough because, like they say under oath, to the SEC, is that their customer base isn't decreasing on console. So if their customer base isn't decreasing, then where's the fire? Where's the issue? I think there'd be a fundamental issue if like people were abandoning the platform wholesale, but the issue is that people aren't upgrading, and is that really a big deal that people aren't upgrading if they're still spending $20 a week on Fortnite skins? That's the fundamental thing that I think makes the discussion kind of boring for me is that I don't see, you know, speaking to people who are in the business, when I ask them questions about these things and they explain it to me in those terms, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. And then I'm just like, well, where's the fire then? I mean, it'd be an issue if the customers were going down.
I fundamentally disagree with you there, but that's a whole conversation for another day, I imagine. We could go at it for ages, but...
Yeah, probably. It's getting a bit late now.
Yeah. Gaz, you're in the UK right now, Gaz, and Jez, you're in the UK?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting late for you guys, but yeah, let's end up the show. I want to thank Gaz Septic Sauce for coming on and talking to us about everything Xbox and what's going on in gaming. Gaz, let everybody know where they can check out your satirical console war content.
Yeah. Check out Septic Sauce on YouTube. We make some funny videos. Just don't take it too seriously, and we make fun of fanboys of all kinds, PlayStation and Xbox guys, but mostly PlayStation because I hate them. But yeah, check it out. And I really enjoyed this conversation, man. Just effortless, talking about, even though it's a slow news week, it's good to talk about, you know, like different thoughts on where the platform needs to go and what it needs to be, you know, what it needs to do. And hopefully Phil Spencer's listening to this. And
is Phil Spencer a patron? I doubt he is.
Hey man,
maybe listen to it when it goes live on Jez's channel in a week.
Maybe Joaquin is secretly Phil Spencer.
Joaquin
maybe.
Phoenix?
Yeah,
maybe
he's in the chat right now.
Oh shit!
But yeah, I don't know. I think Xbox will be fine. I don't think the hardware sales are a big deal, but I know a lot of people do. And at the end of the day, it is sort of like, does that just mean? I think just to wrap it up, I think what it probably does say is, or what you could argue is that Xbox fans aren't as passionate and maybe more casual, if indeed they are sticking on the last gen more. Maybe that just means, you know, Sony fans are more passionate. Maybe they spend more money. Maybe that's just indicative then of like a different kind of issue, even if we are giving Microsoft the benefit of the doubt on the hardware sales, which I am doing. But I think, like, I don't know. I think ultimately it'll be okay in the end, whatever happens.
Yeah,
we'll see. But anyways,
well,
yeah, let's get over it. So
yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks
Gaz.
for tuning in. Gaz,
thank you for having me, man.
Are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, Gaz.
And we will see you, everybody, on Friday for an Xbox 2, where who knows what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Peace out.